Hey kids, this is X-Ray Vision coming to you live from NCSU at the McKimmon Center, and this is the first ever Raleigh, North Carolina Crypto Bootcamp 1. And basically, we're going to try to get this all on live stream. It's going to be an interesting day. We might be starting and stopping depending on having breaks and who's talking, break for lunch or whatever. Maybe do some streams with a couple of people here. But this is where the magic is going to be today. This is where we're going to be learning how to onboard people from complete new person and hopefully send them out with an understanding of what blockchain is, what crypto is, and what it means for everybody. So, who needs an alarm when you have X-ray vision?
That's true.
What's up, Red Squirrel? What's up, Swizzle Sticks? Good to see you guys. Like I said, we got rags to riches in the house. We have Freddy quotes. We should have a slow moving animal through the trees that we call sloth. We got X-ray vision. We have crypto boot camp, and a bunch of cool hexagons are here and people coming to learn. So I'm really excited. 6:30 a.m. in the morning. It it is that time where you're at, but it's it's what time is it here?
It is
9:30 ish.
Yeah.
So it's not a 9:30 here. So good morning. You should go back to bed, Swizzle Sticks. And then we got Finbear. 4:30 p.m. here, boss. Was that okay? I set an alarm for this. I told Earl I set an alarm about 3 times a year. One time this year was so that I could make it onto Money Talk with Dane's podcast because I really wanted to be on there with those guys. And then today is one of the other days that I actually set an alarm. So unless I'm catching a plane or a boat, I am not answering to an alarm. Today is a special day. Today is one of those days that today is the day where we make magic happen. Fenver says, "Is this a show for kids?" Yeah, this is definitely a show for kids. Kids who want to understand crypto, I guess. And Miss Bootcamp? Nah.
No Miss Bootcamp.
That's Swizzle Sticks. Good times,
Still
good
looking
times.
for it.
So we're just on my laptop here. We are with the campus, North Carolina State University. It's a lovely area. We drove down here in hopes of warm weather. We were told there were warm weather in the south, and so we drove south through all the snow and horrible weather. And when we got here, it was freezing cold. It's been freezing cold. It's been raining. It's supposed to be 60 degrees today. I'm not falling for it. I'm not going to get my hopes up until I go outside and sweat perspires down my forehead. So we got Finbear says,
All right,
I advertised this stream last night on Crypto Wanderer's stream.
Yeah. All right, before we kick it off,
Yes, we got Earl here.
So tightly packed. Could you please come forward and just come closer so that we can, feel the closeness.
Let me turn the mic over to Earl.
Let this vortex of energy, begin to flow. All right, everybody. Yes, come on in a little closer. All right, first of all, I want to thank you all for coming out to the Crypto Boot Camp 1. This is our first annual boot camp, and we plan to do 3 more of these this year. So as we move forward, we plan to open up these walls and bring more people out. And so I want to thank you all for coming out. I want to thank my friends. They say you get by and you get high with a little help from your friends. So I want to thank my Utah contingency for coming through, headed by X-Ray Vision. I want to thank my man Rags to Riches for being here and supporting us. And of course, Freddie Quotes for being in the house. Yes, and so I'm just going to get us started. I always like to get things going with a little spiritual connectivity. And so I'm going to bring up a recent friend, but certainly a kindred spirit, and that is Saraswati. So come on up, Saraswati, and get us grounded.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
How's everybody this morning?
Great.
Great.
Good? Well, the conversations that I have had so far with the people in this room have, well, emboldened me, let's say. And so I'm just going to run it down. My name is Saraswati Ashaya. I am a ascension teacher, a la the Ashayas. 26 years ago, I joined a monastic group whose purpose was to raise consciousness. And also that group was grounded in not only the Hindi teaching of, how to work with your mind, but also the Christian teaching of Jesus the Christ being the anchor. So we studied the inward direction of the mind, and then we were thrown out into the world to teach it. And that's what I've been doing. I did that consecutively for 5 consecutive years. And that was great. So everybody has a thought stream. And not everybody is completely aware of that thought stream. And the thought stream is not only individual, but it's collective. And that's where we get into trouble. And I am so proud of the people who are in this room who have leapt out of that thought stream enough to know that there is something desperately wrong with the world that we live in. And, and not skipping through the tulips about it either. Skipping through the tulips is over. And the people in this room, the principal people that I've spoken to, they've taken that seriously. So I say, praise the Lord. And so the question becomes, how do we leap out of the thought stream without implicating ourselves, without completely destroying ourselves and saying, we're no good. And, okay, that's legitimate. And so I have a solution for you today that we can just do right now. And the Ashayas, well, all of the mental techniques that we have are based on praise, gratitude, and love. We do not start with gratitude and love because there's a lot involved with that. Are you really grateful? Do you really love them? So we start with praise. Why? Because praise is a choice and can be made in any moment, under any circumstances, and under any pressure. Now, separate praise and worship in your mind right now, because I'm not talking about worship, and I won't bend my knee to, what I'm going to say, and I'm not bending my knee to, any force that is not the one that I'm hooked up with on the inside. That's how the founding fathers were too. They said, we're committing treason, and we're doing it with a full knowledge that we're doing that. So, give me liberty or give me death. All right, I go back to the difference between worship and praise. So worship, take that one off the table. And let's start with praise. Praise is simple appreciation. Period. It's simple appreciation. I'm going to start with some real simple appreciation. I know this is fake wood, but it looks like wood, and it's kind of pretty. I like it. Okay? Simple appreciation. Next level would be I am so happy that I'm standing in a room with people who are of like mind. And I'm talking about governmentally. There's a movement in this country, and it is a patriot movement. And people are starting to get wise about what has gone on in our country and destroyed our political systems, destroyed our lives, turned us back into slaves. So I can't tell you how happy I am. I mean, I praise the fact that I'm with like-minded people, and we're doing something. I don't know anything about cryptocurrency, but I know somebody who does. And they're gonna give a lecture today, and we're gonna learn. So let's just get in the mode of simple appreciation, open up our minds and say, we're gonna learn something today. And that's exciting. I mean, aren't you guys, raise your hand if you're excited.
Excited.
Yay! Okay, so I want everybody to go around the room and say your name so everybody knows everybody else's name. There's not that many people. Aaron, why don't you come, or do you have to stay at that station? Let's start with Aaron. There's two Aarons. Where's the other Aaron?
Stand next to the other.
Okay, we got two Aarons.
I'm Aaron.
Aaron. And there's the other Aaron, and where is that Aaron from?
Utah.
Utah. Rashid.
Yes, I'm Rashid from Wake Forest, North Carolina. I stayed half my life in Maryland.
Okay,
And here I am,
here you are,
back in North Carolina.
sir.
I'm Max. I'm from Utah.
He's from Utah. And do you go by Hex?
I go by X-ray vision when I'm trying to be cool.
Well, you are cool. You don't have to try. Sir.
My name's Glenn, and I'm from Georgia,
Oh, whereabouts in Georgia?
Atlanta.
Oh. That's great. Yeah.
Full name is Daquana, but I go by Day.
What's your name? Say again?
Daquana, but I go by Day. And I'm originally from Jersey City, but I moved down here 2 years ago.
You're originally from New York?
Jersey City.
Jersey City.
Jersey City, that's even better.
Like, but in terms of rent, yeah.
All right, well, that's a good reason.
I'm Brian. I'm from Fayetteville.
I'm Letitia. I'm from Clinton, North Carolina. Y'all probably don't know where that is, but I currently reside in Garner.
Okay,
I'm Earl, and I'm from Raleigh, North Carolina.
I'm Fred. I am in Northern Virginia, born and raised right outside of Washington, D.C.
okay.
My name's Brandon, and I'm from Virginia. And that's all I got for you. Yeah, Virginia.
He used to be a meteorologist with the Marines?
Navy.
The Navy?
Yep,
That's big, okay,
weatherman.
that's right. And the man with the camera?
And I'm Edward from Washington, D.C.
Okay. Take it away.
All right, let's go. Hi, everybody. Welcome this morning. We're gonna, I'm gonna be quite frank. Some of you guys in here who are new, you might peel your brains back a little bit, okay? And that's the point of what's happening today. We want to make sure, I think, that everybody in this room, when they leave today, you're gonna have a solid foundation about what cryptocurrency is. But I think more importantly to me, you guys leave here with the why. When you went to school, think back. When you guys went to school, your teachers would tell you a concept and they would say, learn this concept, and they would say, memorize this concept, right? For me, it was a problem because I needed to know the why. I needed to know the foundation and the building blocks. And I remember some instances where I would ask my teacher, why is it this way? And I don't know if you guys had a similar experience, but a lot of times they would get frustrated with me for asking the why. Now, why would they get frustrated? It's because they didn't know themselves. They had no clue what they were talking about. They were teaching these concepts that they read out of a book and they were regurgitating it to us. That is not what we want to happen here. I want your minds to be lit on fire, to ask us the questions that you need to piece these things together. And that's going to be different for everybody, okay? So what I'm going to do, I've got a little speech prepared, and no, I didn't use Chat GPT, if anybody's curious. It actually came from this ginger brain of mine, all right? So I want to go over this, and it is going to be like drinking from a fire hose at first for some of you who don't know anything about crypto. This speech will open it up, and then I've got some videos that we're going to go through that's going to give you guys the foundations of what crypto is, and then we're just going to take it at the pace that you guys need to take it, okay? This is very informal. You can come up and ask. There's so many really knowledgeable people here who have been very successful in crypto. So the first thing that I'm going to do here is go ahead and open up my laptop, and I'm going to read to you, okay? And this is kind of this will be a little bit more formal. My name is Brandon Davis. I'm a military vet. I'm a father. I'm the co-founder of Texan Token. I'm a YouTuber, and I am an advocate for Richard Hart's first principles of cryptocurrency. I have a very simple belief system when it comes to what makes cryptocurrency valuable, and also have a very simple belief system in terms of what makes blockchain useful. Firstly, blockchain is an extremely inefficient and slow and expensive way to store and call data. And secondly, its primary claim to fame is censorship resistance. This is what makes blockchain useful, even though it is extremely slow and inefficient when compared to other technologies out there that store data. So you might ask, what is censorship resistance? We're going to get into that. But essentially, anyone can come and go as they please, and they can write code to a blockchain without asking permission or being gate kept. That's a really, really powerful concept, okay? You have the ability to create things of value without having to ask permission from anybody to do it. Anybody in the world has access to this power as well with the right knowledge. And we're going to get into the why. Why is that so important? So let's take, for example, a financial system that slowly bleeds its citizens dry over decades and decades through the quiet and violent tyranny of inflation and centralized banking. It erodes the purchasing power of citizens and disproportionately affects those on fixed incomes. It's a form of wealth redistribution, taking money from savers and giving it to borrowers and giving it to the government. How many people listen to headlines and they talk about the inflation numbers? Have you guys heard that, right? I would say probably even 5 years ago, I didn't have a firm understanding of what this actually meant. The word inflation is thrown around in mainstream media in other places like it's nothing. And people just go about their day. They might be working, listening to the radio, watching TV. Inflation, yeah, that's awesome. What inflation does is extremely insidious, and what it has done to your parents, what it has done to your grandparents, it continues to do to you, and what it's going to do to your children is extremely difficult to swallow as well. So imagine if you told the powers that be that they were no longer allowed to execute this financial injustice on you. Somebody raise your hand and tell me, what do you think would happen? Yeah, take a water. What do you think would happen if you rolled up to the Federal Reserve or you rolled up to the White House with a sign and you're all fired up? And what would happen if you said, no more inflation? Somebody raise their hand. What?
I think Jerome Powell will have a fit.
Jerome Powell have a fit. Now, why would Jerome Powell have a fit? Thank you, man. Appreciate you. He would have a fit because this is the system that feeds his family. The same system that takes away from your family affords Jerome Powell a steady paycheck of $435,000 a year. And he has access to the I guess, the largest fraud ever known to man, which is the United States Federal Reserve. Yes, ma'am.
You know, the truth of the matter is that Jerome Powell doesn't need the fiat. He's worth, what, 13, I don't know, well, he's worth a lot of money. So
Sure.
if the fiat currency system went down, his family would still survive.
Right.
It's the people like us who are relegated to using the currency that we have that are gonna suffer.
Right. And what's neat about that is the blockchain, for the first time in history, gives us a hedge against that theft. We have a way to recapture that economic energy. And I think that also is simultaneously why you see fear from a lot of governments and centralized banking entities across the world. It's for this very reason, because we are challenging the status quo. We are the product. If we don't exist and if we aren't using their money, they're not making money and they don't retain that power. So I think that when that dynamic is being challenged, that really, really scares people. So what would they do? They'd laugh at you, right? They'd say, what are you talking about? You're crazy. This isn't going away. This is here to stay forever. That's what they'd say to you. They think you're silly. With the power of the blockchain, you have the ability to fabricate and model your own microeconomy. And you can have it be censorship resistant. So it's not impossible to be able to shut down. It's just it's more difficult. It's very difficult. So if you use blockchain for censorship resistance to craft your own idea of financial utopia, what have you actually created? Okay, so you go and you learn how to use this crazy thing called this blockchain technology. That word just kind of floats out in the ether and nobody really understands, and they just kind of use it to sound cool and this and that. We're going to get into what it actually is, but you've learned how to harness this. You've learned how to go code, and now you're creating something on the blockchain. You're creating some sort of app that trustlessly allows you to pass money from one person to the other, from your neighbor all across the world, peer to peer, with nobody in the middle taking a fee or taking a cut. So you've done that. Cool. What's next? Well, just creating that application doesn't mean anything. What do I mean by that? You've created an empty vessel. You created an aircraft carrier. I was in the Navy. This is what I know. I got to use this stuff here. You created an aircraft carrier with no one on board. There are no airplanes taking off the flight deck. There are no people monitoring the nuclear power plant below decks. There is no ensign or quartermaster to steer the ship. The value of this thing that you've imagined out of the ether is actually valueless. Well, that doesn't make any sense. You just told me that this is a really cool, powerful tool to be used against as a hedge. What makes your microeconomy actually valuable, or your thing valuable? People. That's what makes it valuable. Many people tend to cite Metcalfe's law as an appropriate explanation for the value of a network. It says that the value of a network is proportional to the square of its connected devices. I tend to disagree with this. A better explanation of the value of a network would be the following. In Metcalfe's model, we understand that devices in and of themselves are not capable of self-replication. As it stands currently, apart from some new AI functions, a machine is not capable of convincing another human to be onboarded into a network. I think that's where the flaw is with Metcalfe's law, because they're talking about devices. But what do they not address? They don't address the fact that these devices are actually synonymous with human beings, and human beings have the ability to look somebody in the eye and convey a message or convey a strategy or onboard people to a thought or idea. So I think that that's why Metcalfe's law is a little bit different. It was created back in the late 70s, I believe, by John Metcalfe. And they were attempting to value these networks, these communication networks that were popping up everywhere. But it's a lot different now because cryptocurrency is much different. These are people that are involved. Remember, the people are what gives the network value. So a machine is not capable of convincing another human to be onboarded into a cryptocurrency or a network. However, other humans are capable as such. Metcalfe's law does not factor in user engagement. The ability for the user, again, maybe you can think about it as a node or a device within that network, being able to talk to other people about this, and especially when it's attached to a bigger or broader idea. So if you have a blockchain or a project that is built on top of a blockchain, some users will sell their assets and never come back. Well, that's interesting. Why is that interesting? Metcalfe's law does not factor in active users or non-active users. All it says is devices, right? It's the square, the total amount of devices that are on the network. But with blockchains, people come and go. People can leave. They're not permanent. People make the choice to stay or go based on the shared narrative around why your cryptocurrency is important. Give me an example right now based on what we've talked about. Anybody can raise their hand. What could be a shared narrative? What could be something that people rally around when it comes to a cryptocurrency? Anybody can, no right or wrong answer, just what are your thoughts on that? Why would somebody use something? Go ahead.
Some people might want to rally around privacy as a narrative.
Nice. Some people might want to rally around privacy, is what he said. Who else? Do you raise your hand? And then I'll get you.
Decentralization.
Decentralization, and we'll talk heavily about that as well.
The opportunity.
Opportunity, right? It stands for a better opportunity than what they have now, right?
What about buying power?
Buying power, absolutely. So we were talking about this earlier, and one of the opening paragraphs here in this speech was, we've been bled dry over decades and decades and decades through the silent and violent and quiet tyranny of inflation. So inflation decreases our buying power, and this is a hedge against that. Good. So Metcalfe's law does not factor in active users versus non-active users, i.e. people who hold wallets on that chain, on that blockchain, on that project, yet aren't actively buying or trading. So if you have a blockchain or a project built on top of a blockchain, some users will sell their assets and they will never come back. Never come back, okay? As the user base shrinks, it becomes more likely that additional users will also leave. If left unchecked, this ultimately causes the collapse of the population supporting the technology or the narrative. Think about MySpace, how MySpace collapsed so quickly once Facebook came in, and MySpace couldn't adapt, and MySpace was gone. It felt like it was gone overnight for me, and thank God, because I have some crazy pictures on MySpace. However, what happens when there's a healthy, thriving, happy, well-educated community of users? These users replicate more users. Now we see the difference. We see the difference between Metcalfe's law of a machine that can't replicate itself. It can't convey messages and ideas like I'm doing right now to you all. Those users replicate more users, which create more social circles. They rally around the features and the benefits of the project or the asset offered. In fact, they turn into fervent advocates, acting as a dynamic immune system. If you watch my YouTube, and again, it's youtube.com/@R2R, the @R2R, the number 2. I talk about this quite a bit. The community that we're involved in, Freddie Quotes is involved in, Hex Ray Vision. It's an asset called Hex. And I say one of the biggest strengths of that community is the knowledge level and the ability for people to sniff out bad actors. It turns into an immune system. It turns into these people defending what they love. So that's kind of what I'm referring to here as I talk about this. So the ability to vet those who intend on causing harm and even socially removing them from the fold, even if a handful of these users get picked off and never come back, as long as the overall user base stays high, it will continue to grow. This essentially explains what I believe to be the proper explanation of the growth and the value of a blockchain network. This is referred to as the Ali threshold. This has a lot to do with populations. Like I saw an example of meerkats, for example. Meerkats, they're not very good by themselves. If they're out on the savannah in Africa and you got one little meerkat, I mean, chances are that meerkat's pretty screwed, right? I mean, he's gonna get snatched up by some daggone big thing from the sky or from the ground pretty quick. But if you have a lot of these meerkats, what types of advantages do you have here? Well, one thing is you blend in, that's cool. The other thing is, think about all these other animals out there that when they see a predator, what are they gonna do? That's extra eyes. Okay, so they got your back. They can see behind you, in front of you, up. You got more. So you have a better opportunity to not only survive, but thrive when you're in a group of people. And we can translate that into what the value of the network does, because these people are going to be talking about your project or your idea or your narrative. People are going to be looking out for things. People are going to be sharing things that are good. They're going to be sharing things that are bad. So as a group and a collective in a blockchain network, these are the sorts of things that help us push back against the crazy stuff that's happening in the world. Right now, we're talking about the Treasury. We're going to talk about the IRS. We're going to talk about all these things. If we didn't have a group of people that had access to the internet, that were doing their own thing and finding these snippets, but then sharing it with the group, we don't learn as quickly either. So it's so important to have a group that rallies around that, that primary message and narrative, because we learn much faster and we're stronger for it. So this concept that we're talking about, which is the Ali threshold, you guys can take a look at that. You can Google it and understand it a little bit more. Even if a handful of these users get picked off and never come back, as long as the overall user base stays high, it will continue to grow. This essentially explains to be what I believe the proper explanation of the growth and value of a blockchain network. In the Ali threshold in biology, this explains that animals would be safer and grow faster as a population, an ecological network effect. However, as the population grows, there's only so many resources to go around, and there's a natural limit based on network specifications. Example, in a blockchain network, you're going to hear things like throughput. So we're kind of getting into the technical stuff here. How fast can packets be sent and how fast can they be received across the network? Pricing users out of the market network via gas fees. So this is a natural limit. When we talk more about this, you're going to understand what the term gas means. Okay, it's the price of the transaction on the network. And sometimes these fees can get very, very high. That also kind of puts people out. Too many spam projects congesting the network and creating additional attack vectors for its users. A lot of people out there are opportunists and scammers. And as these things build up in the network, think about it as arterial clog, or think about it as those, what do they say, those proteins of your neurons that build up, and eventually people kind of get Alzheimer's or things like that because it's not cleaned out. That's kind of the same thing with this network. You have these attack vectors build up, people out there that are out to get you. And then if you don't apply scam detection, if you don't apply algorithmic feeds and other ideas, the network quickly becomes unusable. But add the right features to aid discovery, combat spam, and increase relevance, and you increase the carrying capacity for users. Think about Uber. When you don't have many drivers servicing an area, it takes longer to find a ride. So you have a high ETA, or estimated time of arrival. Because of this, the conversion rates for Uber in that area are low. People don't want to wait 30 minutes. How many of you guys have seen that? You open up Uber, you're like, 45 minutes now, I'll just walk, or call a taxi or something. So they don't want to use the app if it's not convenient. The conversion rates are low. People don't want to wait 30 minutes. They want it now. Because of this, you have only a handful of drivers too. So if the demand's not there, then there's not going to be a demand for people to download the app and use their own vehicles to wait on people to carry around that are never going to show up. So you have only a handful of drivers. The value to the user is nearly zero. And because of this, drivers also leave the network. And then what happens? Network collapse, population collapse, service collapse. Once you pass the tipping point, however, and there's a tipping point, the Uber service is still inconvenient, but trends towards sliding on a scale of convenience. Instead of waiting 30 minutes, now people are like, okay, I can wait 17 minutes. I still don't like it, but it's something that I can plan for in the future, 17. Then it goes down to 10 minutes. So like, okay, this is better. This is nice. Or even 5 minutes. As drivers come into the network, the more convenient it gets for the user. Now think about users in a blockchain. More network participation, the more marketing, the more liquidity, the more visibility for your project. The Uber service in the city starts to see the classic network effect. But eventually, not everything lasts, all good things last forever. Is that what they say? The value of the network plateaus. There's a diminishing return to have more density of drivers. It doesn't matter if you get 4 minutes versus 2 minutes versus having the driver outside instantly. In fact, think about this. How many people have ordered an Uber and you look down at your phone and they're already there and you're like, shoot, they got here too quick, right? So it's like there's a very fine line. There's a golden zone for these sorts of things. And we're explaining that, with Uber here. So it's kind of inconvenient since you need a little time to get your keys and jump out the door to meet your driver. There is a golden zone. So I'm going to wrap things up really quick here. I just wanted to blast you guys with a lot of concepts because it's going to kind of put some things out there that we're going to be able to glue together here in just a second in a very, very simple way. To wrap things up, the valuation and long-term viability of a network, of a crypto network, of a blockchain, has much more to do with the products provided on the network to complement the demand of the users on the network. Proper liquidity, which is, when I say the word liquidity, I'm referring to how much money is there. Think about a bank. If you go to a bank, you try to do a transaction, they've got no money to do it, you're not going to go back to that bank. It's very similar to cryptocurrencies. If you go to this cryptocurrency, if you go to Ethereum or you go to Bitcoin and there's no money to do those transactions, there's no cash register, then you're probably not going to come back, okay? So, to complement the demand of the users on the network, you need proper liquidity, proper community, proper security. If this thing is failing and crashing all the time, you don't want to use it either. If you think that putting your economic value on this thing is actually going to be a net negative for you, or if you can't pull it out, or if you're afraid that the blockchain is going to get hacked, you don't want to interact with it as well. All of these things, if done correctly, create a thriving environment that unlocks human potential through trustlessness, meaning you can create these apps in such a way that you don't have to depend on a human to make it work. It's all done with software. It's all done with code and logic. If I want to send money to Freddie here, I don't have to worry about a bank teller screwing up a number when she punches it in her machine. Because on a blockchain, I have the code that processes that transaction, and there is no human error in that code. It's going to operate the exact same way every single time. There's no chance that they're going to try to steal my money. There's no chance that they're going to try to take my card in the back and swipe it and sell it off to their friend who's going to put it on the dark web, and then you get drained that way too. So that's what's interesting. So you want to create a thriving environment that unlocks human potential through trustlessness and censorship resistance, and create a network that can scale while keeping these very important ecological considerations in mind. And that's the Ali effect that I was talking about. Thanks. What do you guys think? Now, I'm going to get this set up here, and we're going to take a look at, you guys can write this down, mycryptoclassroom.com. I've created a website that's pretty neat because you can take this website and you can share it with anybody that you know. It's completely free. There are no catches. I think it asks you for an email. If you're worried about the email, just create a different email and use it to sign up with. This has nothing to do with a specific project. It's just going to give you a baseline about how cryptocurrency works. And we're going to go over it here today in class. As time goes on, we'll be adding more modules to it. So I think you get notified when an additional module is up. And the whole goal and purpose of this is to give you a resource to be able to study to take you from zero to hero in cryptocurrency. And take you in such a way that it's slow, methodical, and detailed, and we've got the building blocks. All right. So, is that projector available?
I think it's fine over there.
Is this it? Maybe. Any questions, by the way? If you got questions, man, hit me. Let me know. MyCryptoClassroom.com. Perfect.
Is it on now?
I do have a question about value.
Uh-huh.
I mean, how if it's based on something that is not like work, or gold or something like that, how is it actually valuable?
Good question. So she asks how, if it's not based on work, if it's not based on products or services, that's kind of what you're saying. How does this thing, this asset, this cryptocurrency find value? Here's an example, and this is pretty cool. Bitcoin. Everybody here knows about Bitcoin. Does anybody know how Bitcoin found value? Now, it started out at a penny. It started out at no value.
Through demand?
Through demand. At the top of the market, it was $60,000, $69,000 from a penny. How did it find demand? How did it find a market? There was a guy that paid 30,000 Bitcoin for 3 pizzas. That was the first instance that I know, the first time that I knew that there was any sort of value. So it attached the value of 30,000 Bitcoin to the price of a pizza at the time. And we knew that the price of a pizza probably back then, they got 3 pizzas, maybe $10 a pop. So 30,000, so 10,000 Bitcoin for $10. That was the first time that we had something of value that was attached to something of non-value. But subsequently, what happened? It gave Bitcoin value at that very time. And once you have value attached to things, people start using it. And it starts to become a narrative. And these cool things happen. So to answer your question, once you have something of no value that's attached to something of value, that's where you get that initial price. And you have to have a community that is galvanized behind that thing and have enough confidence to be able to start using that. Why do we use the US dollar? Because we believe that it has value. And the funny thing is, the US dollar could be the biggest rug pull and scam of all time. But we still use it because everybody uses it. So to answer your question, that genesis point is when these things get attached to something that doesn't. Now, today we have the infrastructure to attach the value of an asset in a market to the value of a US dollar. So that's already kind of matured. So when you have a new cryptocurrency that comes out, the market will determine what they want to pay for that thing, whether they like it or not, and it creates that initial value for that asset. Might be really low, might be really high, depending on what that asset does. Sometimes these cryptocurrency projects, they have the ability to create exchanges online. People say the exchanges are cool, it's a good or service, and the market determines.
Can I say something?
You can.
This seems like a digitized barter system to me. It's like going to the medieval marketplace, and you got chickens and I got bread, and we decide that we'll make, that I'll change my bread for your chicken.
I think that's a great way to explain it, actually, with a lot less friction than what happened in the medieval times.
Well, you have to be there.
Yes.
In order to get the chicken and exchange, and you gotta make the bread.
Well, we've got marketplaces that we put online that allow all of these, it tracks the value of these assets, and you can actually exchange completely different assets for completely different assets based on the value that they have. But it does it digitally and through code and instantly. So there's a lot less financial friction there. And that's also kind of why these things thrive. So yeah, I like that. Let me see if I can log into this thing. Invalid email. All right. Rags, no, maybe it's Brandon to Texan. Here's what we're gonna do.
You sign in as me.
What is yours? You come up here and sign in.
That's right.
I don't remember it. What is this? How's your mind? How's your head?
Good.
Good? How's your head?
Oh, yeah, I'm learning.
Freddie, how's your head? Great, brother. Yeah, mine doesn't.
Can we create a new one?
Yeah, I'm gonna create a new one. I'm just not gonna do it with you guys watching. Hold on a second. I don't trust my computer. I mean, I'm doxxed.
What was the name of the concept where the population grows together?
Ali threshold.
How do you spell that?
ALLEE.
ALLEE?
Yep,
Threshold?
that's right. Cool. We created one, and I'll plug back in.
It is now is telling us that it was 10,000 Bitcoin for the pizza.
Okay, so there's, and I think there was
10,000.
three, he bought three of them.
Yeah.
So 10,000 to one. Oh, 10,000 to 10.
So anyone can go to this website and create their own username and password and log in.
What?
There's no cost to it.
Zero.
It's just an educational.
And it doesn't shill
I think he
any
had
other
an
projects.
interview.
Because I didn't want people to
I
be
think he
turned
had
off
an
by
interview
that.
on
Just talks
TV.
about crypto.
He was like, oh, it's okay.
You gotta have that type of attitude.
Yeah, I guess you got to let it go.
Cool. Here's what's cool about this, folks. You can send this to your mom, you can send this to your dad, your grandparents, you can send this to friends, family. It's got these, this is the first module here. I've got video that we're gonna talk about, the intro. At the bottom here, you're gonna see that, let me push this over here. At the bottom, you're gonna see that you can download the first full season, I call it a season, but the first full module in PDF form. So if you're the type of person that likes to kind of read along and make notes, you can download the PDF and see the full script that I used for this whole thing too. And again, completely free. You're never going to be charged for it, so don't worry. Okay. Now let's see if this audio works. That will be the key here. Looks all good. That max?
That says 63.
Oh, okay. Over here talking about blockchain, I can't turn the volume up, guys. Good night.
One button there.
Oh, there we
Let's
go.
see how loud it actually is.
It's always going from through the port. Is that you came back here in the volume? You know what I mean?
Hi, my name is Brandon Davis. I'm the co-founder of the Texan Token, a crypto content creator and cryptocurrency advocate. What makes me qualified to actually teach crypto? I've been involved in crypto since 2014, and I have made every single stake imaginable. I've lost fortunes, I've gained fortunes, and there is no playbook on how to approach crypto because it's so new. Due to cryptocurrency's infancy, the best playbooks are from those who walk the walk. You are here right now because you may want to improve your crypto knowledge. You're here right now because you're a staunch beginner. You're here right now because you just want to learn a little bit to kind of get your feet wet and move forward. Whatever the case may be, I commend you for showing up here today. This course will provide a solid foundational framework for anybody that wants to learn about cryptocurrency. And the most important thing about this, you will learn enough to start asking your own questions. Cheers. Cool. All right, guys. So we'll go through each one of these videos. In between, there's a quiz, and it's only 5 or 6 questions. So I'll just have people raise their hand, and if you have the answer to it, and we'll just kind of go through that way. And we need to discuss concepts. If you hear things that you don't understand, I'm here to provide that additional context, and so are the other folks who are here with me. They can provide that too. Good to go?
Yes, sir.
Cool. All right. So the first one here is, what is crypto? What is crypto? Definitions of coins, tokens, cryptocurrencies, blockchains, nodes, networks, staking, mining, and wallets. Cryptocurrencies are digital virtual currencies that are secured by cryptography. This is basically a fancy way of saying that you can send and receive digital value, and know each unit of value is verifiably unique. Cryptocurrencies can be used digitally to transfer money from one person to another person safely without having to use intermediaries or without having to use third parties such as banks or card services. You guys know about Visa, etc. This is achieved by each user having a downloaded wallet that only they have access to. As long as you have the wallet address to another individual or entity, you are able to send money without needing a banking institution for the transaction. This is peer-to-peer money transfer. There are more than 20,000 cryptocurrencies in circulation, other than the most popular versions such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, Ripple, Chainlink, Polkadot, Hex. You can use crypto to buy regular goods and services, although most people invest in cryptocurrencies as they would any other asset such as stocks, or such as precious metals. Think about gold. You can stockpile and invest in gold, or if you choose so, you can use gold to pay for things directly. Cryptocurrency is probably much easier to pay for goods or services than gold. Unlike the US dollar or euro, there is no central authority that manages and maintains the value of a cryptocurrency. Instead, these tasks are hard-coded into the software. They operate the same way every time without any type of human element interfering. Here are some key terms and definitions to cover as we move forward. What are coins and tokens? A coin is a cryptocurrency that represents the network that other projects or tokens operate on. So here's an example. The Ethereum network provides the digital infrastructure for the Hex token to operate on. Ethereum is a coin because it is the network, and Hex is a token because it uses the Ethereum network to operate. Bitcoin is also a coin. Solana is a coin. Pulsechain will be a coin. Ripple is a coin. These are all coins because they represent their own network or blockchain. What is a blockchain? Think about a blockchain in terms of the records inside City Hall. There is a place where all land deeds and transactions are recorded in each individual city. These records can go back hundreds of years. Think about a blockchain as the ledger that records each and every transaction for that network. And you can think about the network kind of as the city. However, one major advantage to a blockchain is the fact that everyone in the network keeps a running tally of that ledger instead of just one person. Imagine all the citizens of the city having their own copy of the ledger, and the ledger can't be changed unless a majority of the citizens agree that it should be changed. Don't worry if this is confusing at first. That's normal. We will provide more clarity moving forward. You will often hear the word node. Nodes in crypto are computers run by individuals that help each network operate. These nodes can keep a copy of the master ledger of transactions and help verify the validity of each transaction. Sometimes you're going to hear the word staking. What is staking? Some cryptocurrencies offer the ability to lock up your coins or tokens in exchange for rewards. These rewards are typically paid in the token or coin that you have locked up. Example, if you purchase Hex and stake Hex, you will receive additional Hex for holding and locking your value. It's a way to earn passive income without needing to sell your principal, tokens, or coins. The reason for staking does vary. Some cryptocurrencies offer staking to help keep positive buying pressure and decrease selling pressure. Others use staking as a means to verify a network. Regardless of the reason, trustless staking is a great way to delay gratification and earn rewards in doing so. Cool. All right, we went over a lot there, right? Does anybody, before I start talking, anybody have any specific questions that I can address? Yes, sir.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So what would be like a reason that you would use a node for?
Okay. This is we're going to get into what a blockchain is a little bit and what is a node. So actually, can we lift this up for a second? And maybe I can whiteboard it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Okay. Let me turn this off here. All right, we'll just go over here. All right. So you asked about what a node was. So this is very fundamental to what a blockchain is or what a network is. And we're going to kind of go over this. Do you guys remember when I was talking about that ledger and using City Hall as kind of an illustration of what that ledger is? Think about it this way. Think about a network of computers, okay? And there's a couple different ways that we can get into that all this works, but I'm just going to keep it very, very simple. We want things to be simple here. All right. A node is designed in such a way that you have a computer that keeps a running list of transactions on the network. So this node right here comes in, somebody comes in and processes a transaction on this node. So this node has a running tally. Just think of a simple spreadsheet, okay, of all transactions. But as soon as somebody comes to this computer, so for example, let's say you go buy Bitcoin, this node will record that. It will record this on the master list, this master ledger. Now, here's what's interesting. Every single node has the exact same master ledger. And this is where the privacy and the security comes from. So the ledger records all transactions. Somebody comes to this node, does a transaction. What does this node do? This node adds that transaction to the bottom of the list. But then what else does it do? It transmits. It says, hey, node, this extra transaction was added. So this node updates it. Then this node updates it. Then this node updates it. Then that. Then this one. Everybody gets a copy of that transaction. Now, why is that powerful? If everybody sees this public ledger, if everybody sees this happen, what happens when somebody tries to go back after the fact, after the transaction's been made? What if they try to erase that cell in that spreadsheet?
All the other ones still have to correct.
Yeah. Now remember, when the transaction happens, each one of these record that it happened, but also if something happens to where somebody tries to delete it, what also happens? This node gets notified. This node gets notified. And they say, wait a minute, what's happening here? What's happening? Why was something erased? If this transaction or this one that was erased, if that doesn't match every single one of these, they're going to throw this out and they're going to say that's not valid. That's not valid because we have a record of that transaction. Somebody had tried to go back through and change it, and we're going to throw it out because it's not valid. It doesn't match our records. Now, why is that powerful? You got to think about it this way. This is what's referred to, this part is a proof of work network. And I'm not going to get into that because it's going to confuse you. But here's why that's powerful. In order for somebody to compromise a network, they're going to have a lot of power to do that. What do I mean by that? They would have to go to all the nodes in the network, all of the computers that are spread out all over the world within a very, very, very small time frame and window and hack all of them at the exact same time. There's not enough energy in that small window. There's not enough energy on Earth right now to be able to accomplish that.
It's virtually impossible.
It's virtually impossible. Now, I'm not going to, who knows what they've come up with to be able to do that, but that's for most people, for 99.9% of entities who wish bad things on a network, they're not going to be capable of that. They don't have the ability to do it. So that's what makes, remember I said censorship resistant? This is why that's censorship resistant. Yes, ma'am.
You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
It's a digitized neighborhood watch.
Sure, exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Absolutely. Everybody gets notified if there's a change. And if there's not consensus, huge word there, we talk about that a lot. If there's not consensus, then they're going to throw it out. They're going to say that is not valid. Okay? What are some attack vectors, though? It requires at least, in this instance, you're going to require at least 51% of these nodes have to agree that that's valid or not valid. So if you have somebody that comes in that owns at least 51% of the network, they could actually force that transaction through because they have 51% voting power here. So that is actually an attack vector. Sometimes you'll see bad actors try to come in and control the network by adding more nodes than there are. They add like 51% of the nodes. So that's just kind of, don't even worry about that, but that's just an idea there. Does this make sense about nodes?
So as you were explaining nodes, it kind of, reminded me of analogy of how white blood cells, fight off, diseases and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So does noding, does it intermingle with mining? Because, when you're mining, I know it's like it processed a lot of transactions at once.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, many different variations of this, but to answer your question, if we're talking about Bitcoin, for example, these miners kind of serve as the nodes in a way. These miners process the transactions. Okay, so they verify these transactions. They hold the digital ledger. Just like so this is a miner, that's a miner, that's a miner. If this guy processes a transaction, it goes out all over the network. Everybody has a copy of that digital ledger. So yes, that's one way to think about it, absolutely. And then what do they get in exchange for processing that transaction? They get very, very small amounts of Bitcoin. There's 21 million Bitcoin ever to be released. Can that change? All the Bitcoin people will say, no, it can't. It actually can, and we can go into that, but that's not for this discussion. 21 million Bitcoin to be released. At this point, I think there's about 18 and a half million that have been released. The way that more Bitcoin get released, the system rewards these people, and these guys receive that inflation until 21 million. So if you process the transaction, and if you're securing the network and you're a miner for Bitcoin, for example, you're going to get a small reward for that. And that's how additional Bitcoin is divvied out into the system, into the market, into the ecosystem.
Well, and that was his question. He said, why would someone run a node, right? Like, what would make someone want to do it?
Yeah.
And the answer is reward.
Mm-hmm.
What's the punishment if they mess up?
So the punishment if they mess up, I don't know about
or lie.
What?
If they mess up or lie.
Yeah,
they
get
this one.
Well, I don't even know if I know a proof of stake network, you get cut.
Mm-hmm.
But proof of work network, I mean, I guess maybe I don't think they blacklist the node. I don't think so.
No, the punishment on proof of work is that you spent all this time and money
on
electricity and computers to run this thing, and you lost more money than you would have gained by just being honest. So basically, all these networks are trying to make it more expensive for you to be a bad actor than a good actor. That's the whole thing, is they got to make the punishment really outweigh the gain you're going to get by lying or deceiving people.
Good point. Any other questions? Yes, sir.
So what if we were to use, when the government gives away these billions of dollars, what if they applied that on the blockchain? How would that, what implications would that have?
And so I think I understand what you're saying, but so are you saying that the fact that the government can print money?
That's a whole nother issue.
Okay, yeah.
What I was thinking was, all right, so we've given close to $80 billion to Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know where it went.
Mm-hmm.
If all of that money would have been applied to cryptocurrencies and put on the blockchain, they would know where every single bit of that went by virtue of the system, right?
Sure. So that brings up a good point. Let's talk about the Federal Reserve real quick, and we'll talk about blockchain, and we'll kind of talk about those two things. Yes, sir.
Can I go back really quick to the other punishment? It is now is also saying that not only are you going to lose your time and effort and money, but you're devaluing the coin that you're trying to steal.
Exactly.
So you're making the coin you're stealing more worthless as well.
And
so I thought that was a great
the reason
point.
you would is because hackers, they're going to try to get that coin, and what they're going to do, they're going to try to sell it off, and that will actually decrease the value on the market of that coin. So it's not that logical. Okay, so let's talk about this. The Federal Reserve, they don't have to be audited. Congress, there is no check and balance at the Federal Reserve. It's a very, very small group of unelected by the people, unelected bureaucrats get appointed by politicians that have these backroom deals with countries, that have these backroom deals with corporations, that manipulate the interest rates for everybody. And there is no actual ledger. There is no record of what they do, and they are not required to do it. Now, they do this under the guise of the Federal Reserve is technically private. A lot of people don't know that the Fed is private. And that was created for a reason. They were very, very afraid of the government having access to the treasury and the purse of the people. Because if you go back to the Bank of England, you go back to the Bank of France, all the way, hundreds and hundreds of years, or even thousands of years, the founding fathers recognized how dangerous it was on long enough time horizons for the government to have control of the purse. So they created this fake air gap, this fake separation, where you have the Federal Reserve, which is private, and then you have the government. But they were still working together, and it's just a lie. So, to answer your question, if it got on the blockchain, yes, it can be tracked, and that's also a huge benefit and a huge feature. There are privacy protocols, privacy programs, for lack of a better word here, that can hide some of these transactions as well, but it is much, much more open and visible on the blockchain than it would be with any system that we have in traditional finance. So that's a good question.
Does it keep track of something being hidden?
Yeah, so there's a paper trail. So you would be able to see that this amount of value is transferred to this wallet. You'd be able to see this wallet, the amount of value is transferred to that one. And then you would be able to at least be able to see that it disappeared after that hop. So you would know that that event took place after it was private. Yeah. After it was mixed, they call it mixing, to basically go private and dark on blockchain. But you would have a record that happened. Okay. Preguntas, questions? All right. So I don't think we did have a quiz here. Let's take this quiz real quick. All right, so what are cryptocurrencies? A, physical tokens created for merchants. B, digital virtual currencies that are secured by cryptography. Or C, a form of cash that is held in treasury bonds and created in the .com boom. Raise your hand. Yes, sir.
Let's give a gift. Oh,
all right, let's give a gift. Let's do it. B, digital virtual currencies are secured by cryptography. One clap. 3, 2, 1. Boom. We got it. All right. That's what it is. All right. We got a gift?
X-ray.
Cheetos.
I like Cheetos.
Want some Cheetos? Sure. There we go. Flaming hot, cheddar jalapeno.
We're missing some cards in here. We haven't filled out a card yet. You guys fill out a card for the giveaways?
There you go. I think they have something else for you, bro.
Here we go.
So what should we give away? Let's give away.
Brandon?
Yeah.
I got that. I need to say something. You know what that reminds me of?
What's that?
The difference between a republic and a democracy. A democracy aggregating votes to dominate the individual.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, so the bot thing of robots, but like Twitter and making it look like there's a whole bunch of people who are voting that way.
Fake.
And they're actually.
Yep.
So.
This is a system of accountability.
So what is the firewall against that, people aggregating votes? Well, basically, it's a way to cheat.
Well, here's the
like in a voting system, it's a way of cheating.
the firewall is the fact that it costs money to do really bad things. That's a big way to disincentivize that type of behavior. And it takes a lot of money when the bigger the network, they call it hash power. The more the hash power on that network, the more difficult it becomes for a regular person to screw the network up because of the financial consequences to do that. And it's the same thing with this. If you guys ever heard of a DDoS attack, basically you'll have a website and somebody has the ability to bombard the website with many requests per minute, millions and millions. Now, what does that do? It effectively shuts down the website. The website can't handle the traffic. So it's just kind of like shooting a ton of missiles at this website. The website goes down. And then what do? They say, give us $10,000 or we're going to continue to do this and your website's going to be down forever. Okay. Now, there's a lot of technology out there that stops that. However, if they wanted to do it at scale and they wanted to actually have the computer set up to do this on that level, it would cost millions and millions and millions of dollars to do it. And that's a big way to disincentivize that type of behavior. It costs a lot to do bad things, and that pushes a lot of the bad actors out of the market. And that would be the same with this, in my opinion. Yep.
All right, we want to grab one of those cards right there. We're going to give away a very fancy notebook.
All right.
Right next to that box.
Mix it up. All right. Is it the notebook? The notebook?
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh,
the white box right there.
Cool. I love it.
Because we'll be going over this stuff later too.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls from all over the world, Hex Glenn, you are the winner. Come on now.
Hex Glenn.
You're the first contestant.
Yeah,
You got to show him.
We actually need a knife. Who's got a knife? Right here. My man. Pop that and that right there. There we go. So here, pop that open and give people an idea what that fancy smashy notebook is.
Oh, wow.
So, it's got some Hex-Ray Vision stickers in it too. Those will be worth a lot of money one day.
Can you show it to that camera too? I want those folks to see. It's neat.
Yeah.
I love it.
So we'll be learning about the seed words and the place you want to keep all of your important information. And sometimes we go to people's houses and they write them on sticky notes and they lose them, and they literally lose a fortune of money down the road because they just didn't keep these in a good place. So we found these fancy notebooks that have like a little combination lock and some leather. So hopefully this will be something that you'll find easier than those sticky notes when your coins are worth a bunch of money on the next 4 years. So yeah, cool. Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, and shout out to Hex Texas. He's got a Hex Texas hat on. What's that Telegram? Do you know? Is it just Hex Texas on Telegram? I think it is. But nice hat. Nice hat. All right. You guys want to move on to the next one? We good?
Yep.
Okay. And if you're not good, that's okay. Now's the time. No questions too dumb unless it's asked by Hex-Ray. Just to let you guys.
It's true.
All right. Let's do this. All right. Correct. Okay, cool. All right. Approximately, how many cryptocurrencies exist today? A, 25, B, 1,500, C, 10,000, D, 20,000 plus. Yes, sir.
C.
C, 10,000 plus. Is that anybody else? Yes, sir.
D.
D, 20,000 plus. Okay. The correct answer is actually D. Yeah. Now I'll say most of these, I think 97.7% of these things fail within 18 months. So generally speaking, the longer that something has been around, the more battle tested it is. Generally speaking, it's not a scam. Generally speaking, that's kind of a good rule to go by there. All right. What are coins? A cryptocurrency that represents the network that other cryptocurrencies transact on. B, a cryptocurrency that uses another network to transact on. Or C, a physical manifestation of a fiat-backed currency to an arbitrary cryptocurrency. A, B, or C? A, we got an A. Anybody else?
Do you want to plug this back in, or we'll
Say what? Yeah.
put this back there?
Bring that screen down.
Do you want to do us a favor and just stand behind it? It's better. It's better already.
Yep. So Does that turn that thing on? Or am I
Plug your,
Yeah, I plugged it in.
okay.
Might take a second. So yes,
Speak it up. There we go.
cool. So a coin, this is important. When I talk about a blockchain, this is the actual network. Okay, so think about it this way. Think about the internet, and then think about Amazon. The internet is the network that Amazon lives on top of, right? Amazon is not the internet. Amazon provides internet services, but it's not the internet. So think about the same thing when I say coin versus token. A coin represents a network. So a coin is Ethereum. So that's a network, kind of like the internet. And then a token that goes on top of that, whether it be Hex or whether it be Texan token or whatever the case may be, that goes on top of the network. And those are called tokens. A coin represents the internet, and then a token represents a company that's on the internet. The coin token. And I know there's going to be people in this chat that, you know, I'm making this as simple as possible for you guys to understand. There's a lot to learn, but I think this is good for you guys. Cool. So coins, it's a cryptocurrency that represents the network. It's the internet. Okay. So A, final answer, confirm. Answer's correct. What is staking? Laying claim to a server on the blockchain, locking up your tokens or coins in exchange for rewards in some form, or determining the minimum amount of time necessary for crypto ROI. B. Bravo. Bravo and bravo. Good job. Good job. You passed this quiz and with a score of 100%. You need 80 to pass. Okay, we got it. Let's go next. This is the history of a crypto currency. No volume. Do we know why? Thank you, fellas. Thank you, thank you. No dice?
Mm.
We pulling.
Last time it just took a little while and then it picked it up.
Yeah.
Did you try whispering "you can do it" to the HDMI cable? Well, yeah. You can do it, little guy. It might be the audio output on the laptop.
Yep.
Isn't this like one of the biggest mysteries though in crypto? Like, you know, where Bitcoin, you know, originated and who's the Satoshi guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest
It
mysteries,
is.
right?
It's a little bit wild.
Yeah.
All right, so speakers, let's try this. Your cash reserves. So this is the proper audio output here. And it is working.
Is the volume up?
Volume seems to be up on here. It's the same. It was 60. Now is it on mute? Mute's off. So we're good there. And we disconnect here somehow. This here, this, and that's plugged in. We're good.
We've been going for about an hour and a half. Do you want to take like a 2-minute
let's take a break, guys.
Let some people walk around, get
Take a break.
something to eat, go to the bathroom.
We'll get the
Try
song.
to see if we can figure out the sound. You guys have been amazing.
Yeah.
You're the attention span of this room is blowing me away.
Yeah, man.
y'all been amazing.
You know, I've never heard somebody put those 3 or 4 concepts in a row. What you did with the network effect, the fact that it's people, not narrative. Beautiful, yeah. I've never heard that before. 8 years. Nice. You did a really good job with that.
I'm telling you, hours between 12 a.m. and 3 a.m., dude.
That's when it God comes to me or something.
So, let me ask, can I ask a question? How many trading platforms are there?
There's probably hundreds of trading platforms.
Like Coinbase?
Let's check chat here.
Yeah, exchanges. Well, we'll go over that because some of them are centralized and controlled, like private bank. And some of them run on computer programs. So they have an owner, but the owner's not controlling them the same way they're controlling some of the other exchanges. So we'll talk about that when we get to the exchanges, the difference between the exchanges.
What's up, folks? How are we doing in chat here?
Where I grew up.
Thank you.
The Texas one is
I
token.
One from the
That
main
right now
stoplight in town.
We check chat. Top chat, live chat.
Ethereum.
Yes.
Going out towards the
Texas products.
Freddie Ashtorn, what's up? Bob the guy. The people who came in on Saturday morning to learn about crypto from R2R long after the hype was gone. Probably gonna make it. Yeah, love it. Godfather J6, what's up, my man? Aaron Hex. Nova says, so wish I could have come in person. Why am I ghost? Hello all, what is up?
I would have to upload.
Bob says, fast forward 10 years, we had DEX pools carrying tokens on established value to unvalued tokens for all the Cowboy, what's up, my man? Onboarding, yeah. Please don't like, subscribe, please do not. Crypto Risk, Tortoise, Johnny, Larry. I'm just getting here. What is Raj teaching about, especially in college? People didn't even graduate high school. Isn't that funny? They're gonna kick me out when they find out I didn't. We're almost like workout. Too windy for live audio would be totally correct.
Kind of sad to see it now.
X-ray has audio 10 out of 10. Good. Yeah, use X-ray. Speak it, Rags, act emaciated. What's up, Footsteps? What's up, my man? Present the class, Tyrell, what's going on?
But back then, it
And
was
then
just.
you usually cash it out.
What's up, Rags? You guys want me to wear my glasses?
You gotta cash out in order to buy something.
Kiana, what's up? It's okay. Steve Jobs didn't do it either. May be blessed. All right, good. So we're taking a little break right now. We'll be back and we'll kind of get back into some videos here. What time we got, Fred?
10:50. 10:54.
Making good time.
Real.
First,
You
all the way to.
go to Mexico, you'll be exchanging your dollars for pesos.
That was lower everybody. There was like usually like.
Actually, good job, Rags. I didn't know some of this is on your class on X-ray stream. I'll pop in here as well. Yeah, I think X-ray. He said X-ray stream might have better audio, so that's good. That's good. Go there then.
Websites like Coinbase
We'll be fine.
are the exchange, like the one in Mexico.
Hex Glenn, what's up, man? Hex Glenn in the house.
Is that closer?
X Force One, what's up, dude? What's up?
That's a really good question. And we're trying to figure out.
So if for any reason my phone dies, guys, you can go over to X-Ray Stream. He's set up pretty well over here too. Magnus, what's up, man? What's up? Great presentation. We're on a little break right now, folks. We'll get back into it here.
Have you been to any meetups before? I'll tell you how much.
I went to like last week.
Good stuff. Yeah. Swing this back around. Because of questions like mine, people. I got the chat pulled up on the laptop.
Okay. You want to hold it?
Yeah. There's an awesome community, man. Are you in the community?
I find it.
That the people have built,
Things, and as you get
it's
older,
wild, bro.
Right where
It's wild.
Absolutely.
It's like lifelong relationships that they.
Makes sense.
Lots of people. Post on Twitter yesterday, just saying.
Oh, no, you're good.
That point.
My wife used to say. It's very.
Oh.
They might have IC, and then she came to a meetup.
Oh, they do.
Pulled it out. Because show that it's awesome. I'm trying to tell you. Like, now I did that already. All day. So she came over. It's fun. Good people. Good vibes.
Thank you. Boom, take this to be here.
I'm pretty sure it's in. Yeah.
A lot of people have
Yeah, man, even at a bear market,
Catherine.
there's still a lot of positivity. I think people are excited about Polls.
It's worthwhile listening to. What she says is that.
Write that name down.
That we're gonna win this money war when we don't need the federal government. When we can just say, you know.
Even people that live around here.
And she runs, she's like Austin, Texas. This like a routine. FITTS. She used to work for HUD during, I think it was the next one. I mean, way back when. And she's
We're trying to get audio going.
that whole thing. Just basically taking their neighborhood. Like that, just like that. And she's.
Talk back and forth, so shut it out.
But with very important changes, all these companies, when they recognize the name PayPal.
Yes, and how did you do this? Because when we shut it down, we bring it back.
Just make sure you reselect the source. And sometimes she's a little finicky, but yeah, it's all directly working. That just changes the projector.
All
Different inputs.
You get a ton of people.
Yeah. Some stickers.
No, thank you.
Some sweet stickers back there.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, no problem.
I mean, they should have bought it. I know that's like you guys can get that.
Yeah, we just came out with it. I've got like 4 new modules coming out, going through Coinbase.
Insane.
Liquidity provider, I think we're all gonna find somewhere
DeFi.
We're gonna buy it.
And then whatever people need, I can add to it.
It'll be out.
It's good too, because like, if there's something specifically they want, they can go to it and see, oh, here it is. It's way easier than trying to track down like a YouTube video you might have done here. Like, where was that network that you talking about?
I can't believe we got my crypto passion.
Yeah.
The website.
Wow.
Switch to the better family now. It's way better.
What's up, fam? Eating that jerky.
People on my stream, Rags, are asking why Bill Burr isn't funny anymore.
Because he lost his red hair. Did he have red hair?
No, they were
Yeah,
calling you
yeah.
Bill Burr.
Oh.
I'm not funny, Bill Burr.
Good. I'm rough around the edges.
There's another one. They were also appreciating your triceps as you were standing at the podium. So you got some props for your triceps.
Nice. What about my C cup?
Your C cups are looking good. They're looking healthy and supple. How's that? I hope your oral report on what is a t-shirt is ready because you're up next, front of the class, buddy.
We're about to start back up here in a second.
Yep, Hex Glenn.
You all right?
Thank you. They like your shirt.
Yeah?
Get compliments on the
What
shirt.
are these fools talking about?
Yeah, get over here. Say hi to the. Say hi to.
What's up?
Say hi to the 9 people watching my stream versus the 40 watching.
Yeah, we hired SBF. He's going to be here any minute now. He's going to talk about centralized exchanges. Yeah, it's on my channel too. PTSD kicking in, impromptu quiz during class. I know, right? Yeah, you made some good points there, Brian. Yeah.
I should have brought the polo shirt for you to wear.
Oh, yeah.
The Texan polo.
Oh, yeah.
The fancies. Yeah, I love this. This microphone is the bomb. That's the one that David Feeder recommended. The one that I sent you.
Dude.
Never overheats. You can. Do you ever pull up the camera hub and adjust the lighting and everything?
No.
Zoom. Beautiful. Beautiful. This wouldn't happen if the audio was on the blockchain. Your stream has better audio. Thank you, Academaciated. Appreciate that. Love Magnus in the house. Dude, this is great. This is awesome. I can't wait to chop this up and put it over our B-roll footage of this week. This is insane.
I can't wait to edit this and post it as a video.
One of the funny things, I was like, how many people in the room? How many? I said, like, there's 15. But in a bull market, there's 15,000.
15,000.
Yeah, 1,500 in a bull market. Wait, what? Camera or mic? So the mic is a Blue Yeti, but the camera is an Elgato face cam. Elgato streaming or live stream face cam. Which mic, which camera? These guys well structured. Thank you very much, Billmont X. Appreciate that. In fact, Billmont, buddy, you got a. Let me see if you've got a wrench. Make sure everyone's wrenched up nice and good in the chat. A wrench society is a polite society. Thumbs up. Yep, Billmont X, dude, you need a wrench. I'm gonna wrench you right now. Boom.
Actually, you got any iPhone stuff, man?
iPhone stuff?
Yeah.
No, I'm a man.
I'm a man.
I'm a manly man. I do the Android nerd stuff.
I was Android for a long time.
I was Android because Bitcoin actually is what made me Android.
Oh.
Because Apple wouldn't approve the wallets on their phone. They took forever to put any wallets on their phone, and Android's like, we'll let anything in here. So that was it. If Apple had just put some wallets on their phone, I'd be Apple man today. Totally. Can someone call a doctor because Freddie Quote's hat is sick? That is a sick hat. I've been staring at that hat. Get over here for a second. Show the stream your hat.
2-minute warning.
Just talk about this. Like I can't even like.
Hat of the future.
Oh wait, this is on delay. Let me pull this up. Sorry. There we go. Now
There we go. The hat of the future.
What can you do, dude?
And then you can slap a new one on there. Thank you, Marco.
Marco the Hexagon is setting out the coolest handcrafted swag on earth.
He really is.
Between him and Suzanne, we're gonna take over the world. Forget your Balenciagas and your Pradas and those creepy people. Get yourself some Suzanne Arts and some Marco the Hexagon. In fact, hey, did you check to see if Marco's store's up yet? He sent me a link, but it wasn't up yet a couple days ago. So we'll see if we can get the link from Marco's store. That place is awesome. Yes, that is Marco's hat for sure. Was the lady at the start your mom? You know what? No, she I wish she was. She seems a lot more well-adjusted than my mom growing up. Rice versus
30 seconds.
I not only won't like comment and subscribe, I also won't watch your channel when the other options are available. If you're in top, I will take you anytime, man. Yeah, boy. Marco doesn't respond to questions. Well, he's probably figuring a bunch of this stuff out. I will definitely check and see if I can find that link for his store. Yeah, we got people all nice and wrenched up. I asked him when they would be for sale. He never answered me. Huh. Let's see. Let's actually. I'm gonna reach out. It's on my phone actually. I'll see if this link works.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Let me do this. The next video that we have here is the history of crypto. So we're going to get to talk about the history. If you guys have questions, again, use me, use anybody in here to help out with context, and then we'll kind of go from there.
History of crypto. Satoshi and Bitcoin, Ethereum, ICOs, altcoins, decentralized finance, and why are there so many cryptocurrencies in the first place? The first widely adopted cryptocurrency was Bitcoin, outlined in principle by Satoshi Nakamoto in a 2008 paper entitled Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. Nakamoto described the project as an electronic payment system based on a cryptographic proof instead of trust. That cryptographic proof comes in the form of transactions that are verified and recorded by means of blockchain transactions. Some of the earliest attempts towards a cryptographic currency, as reported by Bitcoin magazine, preceded the creation of Bitcoin by almost 2 decades. At nighttime in the Netherlands in the 1990s, petrol stations were being raided for their cash reserves. Owners were fed up with having to post guards at the stations every night. However, this was not optional as many trucks had to refuel during overnight hauls. Instead of using cash, the truck drivers were given smart cards for the first time. These cards were loaded with digital cash, decreasing the risk of robbery significantly. In 1990, American cryptographer David Chong created what is considered the very first digital currency in the Netherlands, DigiCash. Ultimately, poor business decisions, such as rejecting Microsoft's $180 million buyout offer and earning the ire of the Netherlands Central Bank, eventually led to the demise of DigiCash when the company did go bankrupt. The second generation of internet money was born with the rise and the fall of DigiCash. These second-gen companies focused on alternative payment solutions and money systems that were internet-based but with very important changes. Of these companies, you may recognize the name PayPal. PayPal, unlike its peers and predecessors, was able to give its users the ability to transfer money to and from merchants digitally and buyers using a seamless peer-to-peer money transfer system. But wait, there's more. PayPal's success led to a frenzy of competition. One such company was eGold. Unlike PayPal, its primary currency was gold, i.e., it received physical gold as deposits from its users, and in return, it issued eGold or gold credits. eGold was able to manage a relatively healthy amount of cross-border transactions using gold. However, because of the prevalence of fraudulent investment scams like Ponzi schemes, eGold was closed. The next significant event that contributed to the genesis of cryptocurrency as we know it today is the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis that nearly crippled the financial system of the United States and affected many of the world's major financial institutions. This event served as a wake-up call to many of the world's private and public major economic powers and has led to the emergence of what is now popularly known as the blockchain, which is the foundation of cryptocurrencies today as we know them. It served as a very concrete reminder that greed and incompetence at the highest levels can create the largest destructive financial tsunamis, ultimately not born of a trustless system, but a system based on trust in other humans. In 2009, an anonymous person that went by the alias of Satoshi Nakamoto published a document that expounded upon, among other things, the source code, technology and concept of what is now called blockchain technology. Together with blockchain technology, he launched the most revolutionary financial movement and industry ever known to man. At the genesis of this course, there are more than 18.6 million units of Bitcoin that are circulating in the digital financial system. And these have a total market capitalization of around $670 billion. More importantly, crypto is already garnering increasing acceptance and support from both the technology communities, investment communities, nation states, and people from around the world. As part of this gradual integration into the financial mainstream, global economic powerhouses have been integrating laws and tax code in conjunction with cryptocurrency and unprecedented growth. Since 2009, the growth and popularity of the blockchain and Bitcoin has surged. This surge in popularity gave birth to other cryptocurrencies, which are referred to as altcoins or alternative coins to Bitcoin. Today, there are more than 2,000 cryptocurrency projects in the digital financial system. These include Ethereum, Ripple, Hex, Monero, Cardano, Chainlink, Solana, Polkadot, Polygon, Doge, etc. And if you combine the total market capitalization of all altcoins with that of Bitcoin, the result would exceed 1.5 trillion at today's metrics. A common term you will hear is DeFi, which stands for decentralized finance. DeFi is an umbrella term for a variety of applications and projects in the public blockchain space, geared towards disrupting the traditional finance world. Inspired by blockchain technology, DeFi is referred to as financial applications built on blockchain technologies, typically using what's called smart contracts. Decentralized finance, or DeFi, aims to use technology to remove intermediaries, to remove humans. By removing intermediaries, the parties in a financial transaction, we have more trust in the financial system. The components of DeFi are stable coins, use cases, and software stacks that enable the development of applications. The infrastructure and use cases of DeFi are still in development currently. Because of the massive expansion of cryptocurrency, it appears that cryptocurrency has created an entirely new and global industry as more and more cryptocurrency platforms and exchanges start to emerge. More and more people will be able to use blockchain-based applications. As with traditional business solutions, many of these blockchain companies strive to solve problems in different industries: supply chain, finance, sports betting, data collection, escrow, and many, many more.
Questions before we quiz it up? History of, all right, any questions, folks? So,
Brandon,
yes,
you know what this reminds me of?
what's that?
Reminds me of the Reformation.
Yeah,
Taking the middleman out.
it is, absolutely.
Yeah, and I remember, you had a question earlier, about the value and what makes it valuable. Another thing, to hit on, so like, with the US dollar, it always gets printed, through quantitative easing, they always print more. But, the majority of these projects is deflationary. They actually, burn some of the coins. So it's not more being produced. So the ones that circulate are, more valuable because it's not going to the market.
Yeah, it's a supply and demand type thing. Yeah, absolutely. Decentralized finance, DeFi. So that's what it's short for. If you guys, you've heard about decentralized finance, maybe most people haven't. Most people's crypto journey stops at Bitcoin and Coinbase. Okay, and then that's kind of reinforced by the media at large because that's really the only thing that they cover very well, apart from Ethereum a little bit. But there's so much more out there. There's so much more that actually Bitcoin cannot do that Ethereum and others can do. And for example, Pulse Chain will be coming out soon as well, and we'll talk about that. But think about DeFi. One overarching theme here is DeFi is a way for people to transact without an intermediary, without a human being. Now, what does that mean? That means that I got a stack of $10,000 and I go to the bank okay? Now, think about it this way. That teller takes my $10,000. I say I want to go deposit 10 grand. That teller touches my money. She grabs it, she counts it. There's an opportunity for her to screw up right there. Well, Brandon, what about the machine? The machine might count it. I don't trust that machine necessarily. And guess what? What else does that machine do? You guys know? That machine looks at every single bill and it records the serial number and then attaches that serial number to your account. So they know that that money, that piece of legal tender passed from your account to somebody else's, and now they're creating a paper trail. That's what the government's doing. Most people don't realize that's the point of those machines. Oh, it counts my money. Yeah, it does a lot more than that. And do we want that? No, we want privacy when it comes to our transactions. We don't want the government in everything. And somebody will, your detractors will say, well, what about all those bad people that are laundering money and this and that? They always use the marginal excuse. They use the marginal problem and they blow it up into a big problem. Most people, everybody has the right to privacy. Everybody. And they're trying to paint the picture that because you've got 2 people out of 100 that are doing bad things, then 98% of people need to be punished. No, they need to use their agency and use their force enforcement powers, and they need to go after those 2% of people instead of taking the freedoms away from the 98%. All right, and that happens just about every argument you hear, quite frankly, from the left. That's what it's all about. So
is there
Yeah.
a way that I can deposit a check into a Bitcoin or a crypto account?
yeah, there's on-ramps and off-ramps. So you could deposit that. So the way that it works now, you deposit it in your bank, and then you can transfer that money to the blockchain. There's a way to do that. That's called an on-ramp. You're on-ramping US dollars into Bitcoin. So there's a way to do that.
You have to use the bank though.
Yeah,
I mean,
and-
are they going to serial number photograph that money?
If it's a large sum, absolutely. I think
Maybe over $10,000.
And I don't know if it's exactly 10 grand, but the point is, if you ever taken a large stack of money and they'll put it through that machine. I've seen it done. You guys have seen it done too, I'm sure. I don't know if there's a threshold as to how much they count. Smaller ones, I don't really think they do. But here's the point too. We're in such infancy right now that I think that very soon, in the very near future, with the really smart brains all across the world that are dedicated to building out this trustless system of finance, I think that will become a reality where you could take a paycheck and send it straight to the blockchain sooner than later. All right. What was the first widely adopted cryptocurrency? A, Solana, B, Ripple, or C, Bitcoin? C, Bitcoin. Thank you. All right. And here's something additional that's pretty cool. After you submit the answer, I put the quotes of the actual answer right here at the bottom. So you're going to be able to do that. And you can also link to this. Read the Satoshi white paper. Okay. That's actually very important. If we want to gain an understanding of what happened, this video talked about the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis. Bitcoin was created as a reaction to the greed and overreach of people that are the high echelons of the financial system. So Bitcoin was created for that purpose. They were tired of having a small amount of people make the decisions for everybody's money. Imagine working hard your entire life and doing everything right, and your savings being wiped out overnight because of the greed of somebody on Wall Street. That hurts, and that happens. In fact, you'll notice that it's been happening just about every 10 years. All right, and it's the cycles are getting shorter because that bubble is partially popping, but it doesn't pop 100%. There's still 10% left, and then we add on to that one. And then that bubble pops. Now there's 20% left, and we add on to that one. So it's barreling towards a really, really scary place. Nobody in the media wants to talk about it. Nobody on Capitol Hill wants to talk about it. The Federal Reserve doesn't want to talk about it. But guys, this is not sustainable forever. It is not. And it's a scary thing. So we got that. So read the Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. You can Google it. It's by Satoshi Nakamoto. What was one of the earliest examples of using secure digital payments? A, smart cards used by truckers in the Netherlands. B, carrier pigeons. C, Pepsi points.
I used to collect the hell out of Pepsi.
Did you get the Harrier?
That's an awesome story.
That is an awesome story. Saw that on Netflix. Yeah, so it's B, carrier pigeons. Good job, guys. There we go. Smart cards in the. All right. And there's the context. There's the answer right there. Which American cryptographer created one of the first digital currencies in the Netherlands? A, John Tinman. B, David Chom. C, Terrence Clay. D, Charlie Singletary. Bravo, David Chom. Outstanding. Which company is considered the first successful iteration of peer-to-peer digital cash? eBay, Zelle, GeoCities, or PayPal? PayPal. Good, and good. And then last but not least, who was the individual who pseudonymously published a document expounding on blockchain technology in 2008? Now, it said 2009 in there, guys. That's when that was wrong, just to let you know. That is actually 2008. Craig Wright, Satoshi Nakamoto, Kanye South, or James Diamond? What? B? Craig Wright. Nobody chose Kanye South, man? What's up? All right, cool. Good job, guys. You got 100%. Some of you guys cheated, but it is what it is. All right, let's get next. Why cryptocurrency? We're building the fundamentals, the building blocks. We're bringing all this together, doing all that good stuff here.
Why crypto? Traditional system and Federal Reserve, crypto and DeFi, banking the unbanked, decentralization versus centralization. Here are a number of solutions that cryptocurrencies may be able to provide through their decentralized nature. 1. Cryptocurrency reduces corruption.
Not eliminates.
Cryptocurrencies aim to resolve the issue of absolute power by distributing fiscal energies among many people, or better yet, among all members of the network. Logic-based transactions instead of trust-based transactions don't completely alleviate corruption and manipulation, but make it more difficult. 2. Eliminating extreme money printing. By printing more money, a government may be able to bail out companies or subsidize its citizens, but subsequently and simultaneously, these actions will devalue the currency. This approach is like putting a bandage on a broken leg. Fortunately, with many coins being created today, there are deflationary rules set in place to ensure that currencies can't be fabricated out of thin air. Governments tend to raise revenue 2 ways. Firstly, governments use taxation as a means to fund governmental initiatives. They also use inflation to raise revenue. The Federal Reserve System, that has been a social experiment that has failed disastrously for nearly a century, as evidenced by massive boom-bust cycles and devaluation of the American dollar by 92% since 1933, is evidence that this system needs to go. 3, giving people complete control of their own money. With traditional and centralized finance, you're basically giving away all of your control to central banks and government. If you trust your government, that's great, but keep in mind at any point your government is able to simply freeze your bank account and deny you access to your funds. Cryptocurrencies, you and only you can access your funds as long as you hold your crypto in a wallet that you own and not hold your crypto on an exchange. Coinbase Global Incorporated, Coinbase, which is a centralized exchange, sent a message to its users on May 10th, 2022, indicating that in the case of bankruptcy, cryptocurrencies and other digital assets that Coinbase holds for its customers' accounts potentially could become property of a bankruptcy estate.
Y'all hear that? Did y'all know that? That's crazy. Centralized Coinbase.com, for example. Everybody, if you know anything about crypto, everybody, Coinbase or Binance, those are the 2 main ones. Did you know that if you held your crypto on there And Coinbase, the executives at Coinbase made bad decisions, business decisions, and they go bankrupt. What happens? Boom, your stuff's frozen, assets frozen, first and foremost. You can't withdraw them. Why? Because you entered in a custodial agreement with Coinbase. And what do? They use your assets, liquidate them, and they use them to pay their creditors in bankruptcy court. Crazy. Not your keys, not your coins.
Centralized finance.
Centralized finance. And if you think that sounds crazy, if you've seen what has happened over the past year with cryptocurrency, major corporations that nobody thought would ever fail. FTX. What basketball team is FTX? FTX Center, wherever that was. Miami. FTX wrecked. Who was it? Tom Brady. Tom Brady put what? 600 mil? Wrecked. Tom Brady's wrecked. You know, these huge entities. This outlines something that's a very, very important concept. And what you guys are receiving right now, if you haven't heard anything about crypto, you're so far ahead of the curve. This is an important concept. You can't trust human beings with money anymore. If we are trying to create a different economy, if we're trying to go a different direction, then ask me why. Why are we creating crypto central banks? Why are we trying to mimic the traditional finance system if we're trying to move away from it and be better? It's counterintuitive. It's not logical. It makes no sense. So what we're seeing right now is the fallout. Now, then what does the media say? Cryptocurrency's bad. Cryptocurrency's corrupt. Cryptocurrency is just used for people to launder money. Anybody who wants privacy, you're probably a thief. You're probably rotten. You're probably horrible. Not the case. It's not the case. We have the right to privacy. We have the right to keep our own money. We also have the right to not have our money devalued into oblivion, bled slowly over decades. That's because that's what happens. So guys, we got to move away from that. What DeFi represents is not what happened to crypto over the past year. What happened to crypto was people in centralized exchanges or centralized things where they said, we can promise you this rate of return in exchange for you giving us your crypto. And they made the wrong decisions and they got wrecked. Billions of dollars gone, evaporated. DeFi, everything's okay. We've weathered the storm. We didn't give our crypto to anybody. We kept it in our own wallet, all right?
And its customers treated as general unsecured creditors. It's important not to store your crypto on centralized exchanges for reasons such as these. They can use your crypto to pay off creditors if they go bankrupt. Serving the unbanked, 6% of U.S. households, or 21 million people, do not have a bank account open in the U.S. With proliferation of smartphone technology, people now have a way to store funds and transfer currency as a means of store and exchange. 1.7 billion people are unbanked approximately worldwide.
All right, so check this out. 1.7 billion unbanked. Now, why is that? You go to these third world countries, man, they don't have access to these banking systems. They don't have the credit, they don't have the clout, the social standing, whatever the case may be. They can't do it. So how did, yeah, go ahead.
There's people right here.
Oh, and in the States, worldwide. I mean, yeah, so think about it. So why is cryptocurrency so cool in that way? What if you were able to get access to Bitcoin? You can store it in your own wallet. Now you are your own bank. Okay? And let's just say, for example, you got a lot of people that come to the United States from the South, right? You got these people who work really, really hard and they want to send money back to their family. What has been the only option and solution? You go to
Western Union, Green Dot.
Wire, Western Union, fees getting chopped up, or you go to this check cashing place and you don't have an ID. So because you don't have an ID, they're going to charge more, and you're going to get your paycheck chopped up that you worked your ass off all week for. Bitcoin represents something, or crypto represents something, or Hex, or Texan, or whatever. It allows you to digitally send directly to a family member anywhere in the world, directly to a friend anywhere in the world. It's a beautiful thing. Without any middlemen trying to chop you up, chew you up, spit you out like they like to do. Remember, you're the product. If you're not around, they don't make money. That's why they don't like cryptocurrency, because they don't make money without you using theirs. This fake, made up, imaginary internet money, as Richard Hart likes to say. This is completely true. Questions? Okay. Let me know if you do. We'll go to the quiz. Which of the following are stated reasons that cryptocurrency exists today? You can have multiple selections here. A, eliminates extreme money printing. B, reduces but doesn't eliminate corruption. C, serves the unbanked. And D, fosters centralized planning and control. A, yes or no?
Yes.
B, yes or no?
Yes.
C, yes or no?
Yes.
D, yes or no? I don't know. I don't know how you guys are so smart, man. It's out of control. There we go. We got it right. Bravo, bravo. Next. Continue. Here we go. That was an easy one. Okay, the next one that we're going to go over here. Risk, rumors, and myths. This one's a fun one. All that garbage that's injected into your head about cryptocurrency to keep you away long enough for the big boys to accumulate it. Right? And once they're ready for you guys to get involved, you just turn into what's called an exit liquidity. When you buy, they start selling on your head. That's how this works. That's how the game works. Whenever you hear the media say it's time to buy, it's time to sell. Whenever you hear the media say it's time to sell, it's time to buy. And that's the trick. And watch this next bull run. When they're saying everything's doom and gloom and depressed, you better be buying your ass off, like right now.
Hey,
not financial advice.
Before you start that, will you draw 3 names out of that box and let people come up and pick a t-shirt?
Heck yeah.
Unfortunately, we're used to just hanging out with dudes with broad shoulders, so most of these sizes are XL. If you find something close to your size, then grab it.
It's a good 90.
It's a good 90.
Yeah. All right.
3 names.
Edward Harris. Come on.
Edward Harris.
Edward Harris.
Come pick out a t-shirt.
Ray Cooper. There we go.
Cooper.
There we
Boom.
go. Come on down. You come right here. You pick what you want.
Yeah.
Everybody get it.
And then Nico.
Nico.
There we go.
Grab a t-shirt. Check out the size and then just model it for the camera over here real quick. Those are all the same as that one. There you go.
Something that's wrong. Catch my curves.
There you go. Oh, that looks nice.
See, look at
So you got 2 coins in one there. So you got the pulse coin and you got the hex.
Yeah.
And the hex.
And the hex. There we go.
Killing it.
Cool.
Oh, that's
What do you got?
nice.
Oh, you got the vintage one. It's already worn out. Like you don't have to worry about keeping that clean. Increase. I like it. Cool. The one with the gold, the dripping gold. Get that. Yeah, show that one.
Looks good. That looks
It's official, guys.
Hey, Greg, show the camera right here, will you?
Oh, hey.
Hop back. Let him be jealous.
Woo, yeah.
Nice.
All right.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, here we go. Congrats. All right, one clap. 3, 2, 1. All right, guys. Risk, rumors, and myths. This one's fun. Or entertaining or educational.
Risks, rumors, and myths. During the 2017 Bitcoin hype, cryptocurrency hit the mainstream. Along with the mainstream exposure, many misconceptions about cryptocurrency were promulgated throughout the world. Examples of FUD. What is FUD? Fear, uncertainty, doubt. Cryptocurrency is best utilized by criminals. Despite having features such as anonymity or untraceability, which would certainly appeal to criminals, law-abiding citizens benefit from the privacy windfall that some cryptocurrencies provide. For example, if you don't trust your banking institution or country because of corruption and political instability, the best way to store your money may be through the blockchain and crypto assets. Having privacy is not a crime, and citizens should not feel ashamed as such. All cryptocurrency transactions are completely anonymous. Many people equate Bitcoin with anonymity, but Bitcoin, along with many other cryptocurrencies, don't incorporate anonymity at all. All transactions executed using these cryptocurrencies are made public by the use of a running ledger that everyone in the world has access to view. Next, the only use cases of blockchain is Bitcoin. This idea couldn't be further from the truth. Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are a tiny byproduct of the blockchain revolution. Many believe Satoshi created Bitcoin simply to provide an example of how blockchain technology could work. There are many different use cases for cryptocurrency apart from Bitcoin. Next, all blockchain activity is private. Many people falsely believe that blockchain technology isn't open to the public and is accessible only to the network of common users. Although some companies create their own private blockchains to be used amongst employees and business partners, the majority of blockchains behind famous cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum are accessible by the public. Next, crypto is illegal. Crypto in the United States is not illegal. Algeria, Bangladesh, China, Egypt, Iraq, Morocco, Nepal, Qatar, and Tunisia are the only countries currently who have outright banned cryptocurrency. Crypto is a heavily regulated asset class that is completely legal currently in the United States and many other countries. Next, illicit activities. One of the arguments that you will constantly hear from people wishing cryptocurrency not to exist is that cryptocurrency is used heavily in illicit activities. What's the truth behind this? The truth is cryptocurrency is only a tool to be used. You can use this tool in a way that is unlawful, or you can choose to use it in a way that is lawful. The primary detractors will cite money laundering as the cryptocurrency dark side. Chain Analysis, a blockchain data platform, estimates that of all the crypto activity across the world, only about 0.15% is made up of money laundering and terrorist financing. This statistic spits in the face of politicians, activists, and bureaucrats who lobby for less financial sovereignty and more control and regulation of crypto. Crypto can be banned. Governments can make it extremely difficult to on-ramp and off-ramp cryptocurrency. This could prove to be a de facto ban. What do I mean by on-ramp and off-ramp? I mean that governments could place restrictions on the ability for traditional banks to link to the crypto world. This would come at a cost, however, as Marshall Hayner explains. Bitcoin is too deeply entrenched in the US financial system, both culturally and technologically, to ban. It would mean closing down institutions overseeing billions of dollars of assets, shedding tens of thousands of jobs, and sending innovation overseas, and fueling a black market for Bitcoin. Crypto transaction essentials. Cryptocurrencies are here to make transactions easier and faster, but before you take advantage of these benefits, you must know the essentials of crypto transactions. Wallets. In order to get involved in the cryptocurrency world, you must use a crypto wallet. This makes the unbanked officially banked. Hardware wallets are one of the most secure methods of storing your cryptocurrency. Hardware wallets are also known as cold storage wallets. Think of a small thumb drive that you can connect to your computer, allowing you to transfer your crypto on the blockchain. When you're finished transferring your crypto, you can completely disconnect it from the network and store it safely in a safe deposit box or vault. An example of cold storage wallet is the Ledger Nano S. Hot storage wallets, software wallets, or wallets provided to you on exchanges are less secure because they are constantly connected to a network. Example of software wallets are Coinbase Wallet, Trust Wallet with Binance, KuCoin Wallet, and Metamask. These wallets are very convenient, but also they are less secure. Exchanges. Once you've decided on your wallet type, whether or not hot storage or cold storage, it's important to now create an account with a trusted crypto exchange. Most people create accounts with many different exchanges to have access to many different cryptocurrencies. It typically does not cost anything to create an account with a crypto exchange. You will want to choose an exchange that has the ability to connect directly to your bank account or debit card in order to on-ramp your funds into the crypto ecosystem. Most exchanges will have you create a hot wallet during the setup process. This wallet is necessary to transfer or receive funds between exchanges, flow between your cold wallet and the exchange?
Okay, so I just got done saying that exchanges are bad, right? Exchanges serve one purpose for you, and that's to transfer your US dollars from your bank account into cryptocurrency, right? And once you get your cryptocurrency, you need to take it off the exchange and send it to the wallet that you own, the wallet that you hold. You do not hold your money on a daggone centralized exchange. I don't know how many times I'm going to tell people this. You don't do it because you're going to lose it. Okay, there are bad actors out there. Guess what? Exchanges can get hacked, just like banks get hacked every day, guys. So you got to get it out of there. You got to take responsibility for your money. What's the thing that we've fallen into over time? We give too much trust. We outsource way too much trust to other people for the live convenience. Okay, well, it's convenient. You know, if I make a bad transaction, I need to be able to call customer service and blah, 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 blah. No, we don't want to do that. We want to take responsibility now. If we can take responsibility for our own stuff, then it's not going to be as easily manipulated. And if we do that on a large enough scale with enough people, again, we talk about that hedge against financial tyranny, the violent and quiet financial tyranny that we live under right now. We've got to take that responsibility back, okay? All right. Questions? Comments, statements? Roger, let's go. Yes, sir.
So what do you usually look for staying away from, well, what do you look for in a good decentralized exchange?
So you use the word decentralized exchange. So exchanges, when I say centralized exchange, I'm referring to one of two things essentially for this room. Coinbase or Binance. It's the only ones that I talk about. They're gonna allow you access to change your dollars to crypto. Now, decentralized exchanges are very interesting. And we'll get into that. I don't want to get into it just yet because you need some more context here. Decentralized exchanges are absolutely mind-blowing, absolutely incredible. You guys are going to hear about it. You'll be like, oh, that makes sense. That's pretty neat. We'll talk about that. What are the top talking points used by cryptocurrency detractors? Choose all that apply. A, crypto is best utilized and mostly utilized by criminals. True or false?
True.
Okay. B, the only use case of blockchain is Bitcoin.
False.
Well, the detractors, they do say that is the only. Okay. Cryptocurrency is mostly illegal. Do they say that or don't? They do, right? Mm-hmm. And then do they say cryptocurrency will save developing countries or not? They don't really say that. So, ABC. 1, 2, 3. Boom. We got it. Well done. All right, continue here. Cool. Look at this. A whole section, a whole video on value. I jumped the gun a little bit, but at least with this, it's scripted, and I'm not going to be like a goddamn train wreck up here talking about it. All right, here we go.
Where does the value of crypto come from? Defining money. Before getting into the nitty-gritty of cryptocurrencies, we need to understand the definition of money. In order for money to be valuable, it must have a number of characteristics, such as the following. People must use it to settle transactions. Merchants must accept it as a form of payment. Society must trust that it's valuable and that it will remain valuable in the future. Definition and trust model of money has changed throughout history. When people traded livestock for clothing, the value of the exchanged materials were inherent to their nature. In many different societies, precious metals were used and established as exchange mediums. The gold standard was used by the United States, allowing every dollar to be backed in equal value by gold. In countries where local currency isn't stable, some communities even use cell phone cards as a more reliable and stable form of payment. As technology improved, credit cards were used to exchange funds that were ultimately centralized. As the world becomes more interconnected and more people across the world are concerned about authorities who may or may not have people's best interests at heart, cryptocurrency may offer a viable solution and alternative. As an example, Venezuela's economy has been in a state of complete collapse due to hyperinflation since the mid-2010s. As a result, Venezuelan citizens are using cryptocurrency to pay for daily goods and services, and I quote, "Whether it's furniture, clothing, or groceries, virtually everything can be purchased with cryptocurrencies." Adding that Venezuelans' coins of choice are mainly Bitcoin, Ethereum, Dash, and EOS. Cryptocurrency exchange Binance, he noted, had meanwhile become as well known as the country's biggest commercial bank, Banco de Venezuela.
Cool. Wow. That was incredible.
Yeah, I was talking to some people last night at the meetup, and I said, imagine going to a coffee shop in Venezuela, downtown Venezuela, and a cup of coffee costs 1 million Venezuelan pesos. That's an example of hyperinflation, right? So what is a human going to do? What is somebody that wants to keep value? What are they going to, they're going to find a different way to transact. That money's worthless. You know what that money's good for? It's heating their home, right? In a fire pit. That's about it. Right? So that's why Bitcoin is so cool, because Bitcoin is accepted worldwide, and they can pay for things based on the price and the value of Bitcoin. And that's what you see happen. Now, the other cool thing was, you guys heard, I did a study, I don't know, probably about 4 or 5 years ago, where you had a tribe in just inland of West Africa, where they were going to the main city and they were taking prepaid phone cards. If you guys have been to Africa, Votive is really, really big in West Africa. So they were taking these prepaid cards, loading them up with money, and then they were able, with their cell phones, to transfer value amongst each other. They would bring that money back to the village and the tribe, and they would use it as a bank, using their cell phones, transferring money, paying for goats, paying for supplies, paying for all sorts of things. So people will find a way to keep things solvent if they're getting hit upside the head financially, i.e. what happened in 2008 with the crisis. Same thing happened there. Questions?
Someone on chat asked how much of a super chat to spit a spitball at the teacher.
You let me know who that is.
It was Yupcake.
Yupcake?
Yeah.
Nah, we're not talking to that guy.
I want to know in Venezuela, how much them getting out of the, I mean, is the government being taken down, or they're existing side by side as usual?
Well, the unfortunate thing about those sorts of societies, and we've seen it over and over again, the middle class gets completely dissolved. The wealth distribution goes to the top, and then nobody else has the power to really do anything because they control the militaries. The times in history where they've been able to topple that is when the military has a coup. So it's really, really, really difficult for the citizens to be able to stand up because of the strong arm of the government, the authoritarian strong arm of the government. It's difficult.
So,
Yeah.
so the cryptocurrency is just enabling them to go and buy a cup of coffee now. I understand that on an average, adults in Venezuela lost 17 pounds as a result, physical weight,
Yeah.
because they didn't have a food supply.
So
So how is this mitigating? Go ahead.
well, so this was just interesting. I'm really, really bad at chess. I've been playing chess for 25 years, and I hired one of the top grandmasters in Venezuela to teach me how to play chess. You know how much he charges me in US dollars? One of the top in the world, $25 a lesson. You know, one of the top, like Magnus Carlsen, one of the best chess players of all time. He's probably the best of all time. To get a lesson with him would probably cost you $10,000 an hour. Okay? Now, for this guy in Venezuela, and he's been telling me some crazy stuff here, $25 is the equivalent of like $250 to him. He literally learned English out of necessity so he could teach American people how to play chess because he could get more money from Americans than he could anybody in his country. All right, so this is an example of how technology is going to make things better because he has access to a different market, to the American market for chess lessons. He can get more money as compared to what his peso goes for in Venezuela, which means he has the ability to buy more goods and more services and keep his family afloat. Bitcoin would represent the same thing. He can trade and transact in Bitcoin. He also takes cryptocurrency for payment. This guy does. He told me, crazy, he's a doctor. I don't really want to dox him because this is on the internet. I don't want him to show up dead somewhere, and I'm being dead serious about that. It stinks. He said that in order to go to a chess tournament, he has to start planning a week ahead. He has to go to a gas station a day or two before and wait 6 hours to fill up his tank to drive across the countryside to get to his chess tournament. And that's how it's been for years and years and years. Not only that, he has to start stockpiling food about a week prior to this thing to take it with him, because they do this with receipts and coupons and things of that nature to be able to get sugar, to be able to get meats, to be able to get eggs, to be able to get hygiene products. It's crazy, but this helps. This helps quite a bit. Cryptocurrency helps them. It maintains a level value of trade for these people. Everybody can be on a standard. And imagine if cryptocurrency wasn't around for these people. This is how it's been for ages and ages and ages, and people suffer until they die. There's no way to push back. There's no hedge. So you guys kind of get the full picture here, the full understanding of what this really, really means for populations across the world to push back against governments that make really, really bad decisions and oppress and tyrannize these people. Is that even a word, tyrannize? Maybe. We'll roll with it.
Well, so let me just say something about that and how it's hooked up with the supply chain.
Mhm.
Because I used to live in Central America.
Yep.
And a very common thing when we walk into the marketplace would be, no eye, they're in there. That's what it means.
Hold on just a second. Hey, guys, a little bit too loud. We can hear you up here. Thank you.
Well, so I want you to comment about how this can help us make the supply chain be, I mean, you can't buy something that is not there on the shelf.
Sure.
Okay, so we got the money in our wallet, in our crypto wallet, but there's not any there. So how does the whole thing of decentralization, how does that interface with the supply chain?
That's a good question. Think about this. Where there's money, there's an invisible magnet towards money. If people have this thing that has value, and somebody who owns a supply chain or is a part of the supply chain, it's kind of like they're going to feel their way towards that money to extract that value. That's free market capitalism. That's the type of thing that you see. Yeah. All right. Questions? Any questions? Crypto commandment. Oh, yeah.
I have something to say. So if someone like your friend in Venezuela accepts cryptocurrency in the bottom of the market and hangs on to it for the next crazy spike, then not just is he making money off of arbitraging two currencies, he could really make life-changing money in basically a side job, right?
I pay him, let's say over 6 months, I pay that guy $600. $600 worth of cryptocurrency. He's holding that in his wallet. Now he doesn't realize it because he doesn't know cryptocurrency that well, but there are boom bust cycles, right? What's $600 times 1,000? It's a lot of money, guys. 600 times 1,000. 600 times 1,000. 60? What? It's a lot of money, right? Yeah. Imagine what 600,000, or imagine what a higher multiple, 6 million, or imagine what 60 million would do to that guy just for holding this thing. And people say it's crazy to think that. It's not crazy to think that. We've seen it. We've seen it in our ecosystem with cryptocurrencies. How crazy is it that some random tribe in the most remote parts of Earth could pull together, like 1,000 people in this small area, they could pull together all of their generational wealth, have access to the blockchain, and maybe out of 1,000 people that are the poorest people in the world, they can come up with $1,000 worth of goods and services. They put it on the blockchain. That thing does 1,000x. Nobody in that tribe will ever want for anything ever again. That's the power of the blockchain. That's unlocking value across the world. This is the type of stuff that we're talking about. Now, why is that? It's because these people in the remote area, they have access to a vast market that the West, frankly, is funding with inflation, but nonetheless, it would set them good forever. And we're going to kind of get into the whole idea of unlocking value within communities. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
All right, so this is like a two-part question.
Yeah.
So, what do you think about the crypto coins that's tied, like USD tether coins, stable coins? So say like, if you entered, in a good position. Yeah. And the spike comes and, you want to take out some profits, would it be a good idea to transfer it into like the USD coin until you're ready to liquidate that? Or
that's a good question. So here's the difference between Bitcoin and then the rest of crypto. There's no risk off for Bitcoin. All right, what does that mean? That means when you go to bed at night and you've got a profitable position in Bitcoin, let's say you got in low and then it's spiked up and you put $100 in, now you got $1,000, you're happy. How do you risk off? Which means when you go to sleep, how do you know that when you wake up, you're gonna have the same value? With Ethereum, you have the ability to change this over into a stable coin, which means you can change this to a stable coin, go to sleep, and you wake up, and you got the same damn value in your wallet. So to answer your question, these are very, very important. Stable coins are very important. It's important while the market is running up. Financial opinion, by the way, I barely graduated high school, folks. Just want to point that out. You shouldn't listen to anything I'm saying right now. But the smart thing here to do is once the market is pumping and you look at what the hedge funds do, the market starts to pump, they start getting out all the way up. They're selling off 5% every little pump, 5%, 5%. By the time the bubble pops, they're out of the market. Now, what does that do for people too? You got all this capital to start buying back the bottom too. That's kind of how they do it. But that's a little bit advanced. We, at some point we can talk about that. But yeah, it's important. And just to give you that a little bit extra there, that's why. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
So how did that guy in Venezuela put his service of teaching chess on, how do you do that?
He has
access. Do you have a service that you can?
He's got, what I think is because he's a doctor, he's a little bit more well off. And I think he gets some perks because he's working for the government. He has access to the internet. So that's how we're doing this. You have access to the internet. There's a marketplace for chess teachers, and that's actually where I found it. That's how I found it, and that's also how we do the lessons.
So all I would really have to do is put something up on the internet, and I would say, I accept this kind of
access to that vast market. The internet does that. Now, you got the internet. What's cool? Now you got the financial part that connects to it. And they marry each other together. It creates an explosion of opportunity for third world countries. Just like Starlink is going to offer, it's going to turn 2 or 3 billion people online in the next 5 or 10 years. It's Elon Musk's satellites that are shooting internet signal to the farthest reaches of the earth. So it's technology is really cool. It can be used for devastating effects or it cannot be. Just depends. It's a tool. Crypto commandments. All right, guys, we're nearing the end of this portion here. Crypto commandments. I've compiled some ideas about what I think are the most important things for you guys to look after. All right. And again, there's a PDF that you can download when you go to mycryptoclassroom.com, free sign up, go through all this material again, download the PDF. If you plagiarize me or steal it, I'm actually okay with that because you're teaching other people how to do crypto. Put your name on it, I'll give a damn. Here we go.
10 cryptocurrency commandments. With delving into the world of cryptocurrency, there are many pitfalls that you will experience. Most of the cryptocurrency world is very similar to the Wild West currently, in that there are many untrained novices who seek to use referral links and paid groups to extract money from their users. There are a handful of foundational commandments with cryptocurrency that can help one navigate the wild world of the nascent cryptocurrency community. This is not financial advice, and this is not from a financial professional. This is only opinion. 1, don't risk what you're not okay with losing. 2, do not store your crypto on centralized exchanges. Only use centralized exchanges as an on and off ramp to your fiat bank account. 3, is there a product market fit? Are users buying, selling, and talking about the product in large enough numbers to sustain growth? 4, is the contract trustless? Does it depend on a human to execute primary functions of the contract? If it does, generally you will stay away from it unless it's a public call function. Humans cause more problems. Trustlessness is found in code, not humans. 5, did the project launch complete? Many projects launch, sucker people into the project, and then change important features of the project that doesn't execute on what was initially promised. A project must launch complete and finished. Number 6, is the code immutable? There should be no way that the code can change after launch. Many projects have administrative keys that are built in that allow them to backdoor the code and change the parameters after launch. Always ask if there are administrative keys. 7, is the team transparent? Are the founders known? Are the developers known? Is there a track record of success? 8, is the contract security audited by a reputable source? Security audits don't prevent fraud, but add an additional filter that can be used to identify potentially exploitable risks in the contract or the crypto project. Ask for audits. 9, does the product provide trustless yield? Does it provide yield not dependent on the work of others, simply your interaction with the contract? Example, one can give their crypto away to a centralized exchange for a specified amount of time in return for rewards. This is not trustless, as it depends on the work of the exchange and humans in the exchange to make good on their promise of rewards. However, holding your own keys and receiving yield directly from a smart contract with no counterparty risk or humans involved is paramount. 10, counterparty risk. The US government defines counterparty risk as the probability that the other party in an investment, credit, or trading transaction may not fulfill its part of the deal and may default on the contractual obligations. Counterparty risk is removed with trustlessness and immutability.
Do you guys find those 10 commandments helpful? That give you a little bit of an idea of what you might need to look out for? Cool. Do we have any questions about those?
I didn't start writing them down till 8.
Yeah, me too.
I was gonna.
So if you could start at 1.
Here's what we'll do. We got to do the quiz first
Okay.
because I'm OCD, and if we don't, then I might leave the function here. Where should you hold crypto for long-term storage? Coinbase, Binance, Gemini, a wallet that only you hold the keys to. Delta, well done. What is product market fit? A cryptocurrency that originates from the primary developer's axis. B, users buying, selling, and talking about the product in large enough numbers to sustain growth. Or C, understanding the nuance of development compared to culture. C. Okay. The answer is B. Users buying, selling, and talking about the product in large enough numbers to sustain growth. You don't create a cryptocurrency and match it up with the market that it fits well to, they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to spread the word. They're not going to use it. So that's what we refer to as product market fit. All right. One thing that I want to point out here, guys, much of what I'm telling you right now are not my own thoughts. Much of what I'm telling you have a lot to do with a guy named Richard Hart. All right. And if you check out Richard Hart on YouTube and you start going back to his original videos about cryptocurrency and listening to his debates, the amount of knowledge and the amount of wisdom that guy has spewed and the amount of good that he's done for so many people is absolutely unparalleled. Now, I'm taking what he said, I'm adding some things, I'm adding some of my thoughts here and there, but I give a lot of credit to that guy, and I just want to let you know that a lot of what I've learned is from him, by the way. All right, including product market fit. So B, good. What is, yes, sir.
I have a question with it. So with that, with B being the answer, so it's enough to create a, I guess, social media blitz and get people talking about it. That's enough to sustain growth.
Yeah, social media is one part of this, but think about, let me think about this. So let's think about this in the traditional sense. Let's say that you created a product that, let's say you created a product that washes your car automatically for you. Okay? Cool freaking product. Let's test it out. So you let that thing go and you're like, whatever, 19-something Camaro, and it's super rare, and there's like some crazy engine block, and it starts washing it, but the daggone thing, the hose, hits the door of the car and it scratches it, jacks it all up. All right, and then you go online, you do a review. It was a good idea, man, but it was like $10,000 worth of damage to my badass Camaro. Well, that's not going to be a good thing, right? It's a cool idea, but the product doesn't actually work the way that it's advertised to work. So what happens? Population that collapses of people who are using it. So a good product market fit is a product that fits the market, does what it says it's going to do, and then because of that, people talk about it, and people buy it, and people interact with it. And you got to have that demand outpace the decline of people who aren't using it. So it goes up. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. What does trustless mean? No needing a second opinion from a blockchain developer, not dependent on a human interaction to execute the locked functions of the contract and software, the absence of a code audit, or a wife allowing her husband to go to Vegas. All right, B, not dependent on human interaction to execute the locked functions of the contract and software. You guys are so smart, man. Is he being sarcastic? What are the three characteristics of transparent crypto team? A, founders are known. B, developers, docs known. C, country known. D, track record of success. So what is the one thing that is not a characteristic?
D, developers.
Yeah, so pretty much the country doesn't really matter as long as the founders are known and respected, reputable. Developers or docs. Docs means we know their names and what they've done in the past. And essentially, when they boil down to it, we can find you if you do something stupid. That's what docs means. And then a track record of success. Do they have a track record? Have they developed successful projects or gotten projects to market in the past? There, it's confirmed. Oh, I just failed my own quiz.
You just have to deselect that.
Yeah, okay. I didn't pay attention to instructions. That sounds like something I do. Are you who in here is the type of person that shoots before they aim? That's probably me. I get in trouble for that. All right, crypto command. Here's I created an infographic for the crypto commandments. Look at that. Download. Can you guys see that? Let me zoom in.
Boom.
Oh, okay. Cool. And again, all this is, you guys can download it on your own. All this is available. All right, we got, what is it, 12? What's our timetable?
We're in our lunch zone.
Go, let's hear it. Guys, good job. We got some attention here. I think we're learning some things. I'm getting some head nods. Makes a little sense, yeah? A little bit more sense than when you showed up this morning? Good stuff. If you guys have questions during lunch, hit me up, hit X-Ray up, hit Fred, hit anybody up, talk about it. But that's going to kind of conclude this morning's portion, guys, and thank you. Any questions? Okay. Thank you. All right.
All right, we're gonna take a 1 hour break. And we thought we'd give you some entertainment. Got one of my local favorites, Carrie Long, in the house. And he will be doing a few of his songs. And it looks like he's brought some new talent with him, which I am excited to see. So we'll have an hour. I can't provide you any food this time, but I promise you next time we will. So we'll get set up and hear some music. If you want to go grab a bite or something, there's Wendy's and stuff down here. But I'm going to check out some Carrie Long. I don't know what you guys are going to do.
Awesome.
That's what I'm going to do.
Thank you.
All right. You want me to pull that and pull the HDMI? Yeah.
Rags, they want you with your hat off this next time. So
Man, they have been trying heavy on that thing.
I'll take the daggone hat off.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. Can't give it in. You can't give it in.
Give people what they want all
I
the
know.
time.
You can't.
Can't give them what they want.
it's not me, but X-Ray wants to go for a smoke.
I know, man.
Oh my God.
DJ.
Bad hair day. It's good times.
All right, guys. We're about an hour and 165 minutes in. That was great.
Yes, and Sloth is on the way.
Oh, perfect.
So-
Yes, she can get it going.
All right, this thing's about to die, folks.
What's up, kids? What is, let's see if I can get this cord. Oops. There we go. Okay, so check this out. We're gonna go get some lunch. I can probably turn it back on with these with the musical guests that are here.
Share this with anybody.
Mr. Rafferty. X-Ray beer is looking more Amish by the day. It is looking more Amish by the day. This thing is becoming, I'm going to have to name it and register it as a pet in my local city. Dude, this was insane. The information being put down here is insane. And the structure is amazing. And getting the perspective of newer onboards and remembering what order to go in and simple questions we forgot is golden, I think. So I'm going to cut this stream right here. If I come back and they're playing, then we're going to turn it on to them playing. And then we'll have another stream in the afternoon with, Sloth is going to be here. Freddie's here. I'm here. But, dude, Rags is killing it. Killing it. How many people in class? There's about 15 people here, maybe 20 now. They're kind of coming in. And so, like I said, 10 people, 20 people, 30 people here in a bear market. It's the same as 3,000, 4,000 people here at the top of the bull. I'll tell you what, when these classes are standing room only and we're in that big old hall, it's time to sell. It's time to get out. It's time to take some profits, some big profits when the next crazy wave hits. So start referring to everyone as the English. This is good numbers. This is great numbers. This is magic. The truth is, I used to freak out when I'd go to a meetup and there weren't many people there. I used to freak out when Crypto Spabuk went to Salt Lake. It was like I wanted thousands of people to show up. And, you know, we had a really good turnout, and I felt like I had failed. But the more I'm around crypto and the more I figure this stuff out, the more I realize it's the people that are meant to show up, show up. It's magic. It's magic. Every person you meet at a meetup and network with, make a connection with, is the person that's supposed to be there. Was it a paid course? Yeah, Mr. Raftery, he sold tickets to this early on, and he started at like, I think it was about $200 a ticket to come here. And he dropped the price because the truth was he's trying to cover the cost and get this message out there. So the goal was to cover the cost of renting the building, and yeah, and then we just brought a bunch of like merch and giveaway swag and some food and some snacks. And so that's really what this is. This is as grassroots as this gets, and it's insane because had I known, if you would have told me 8 years ago to come pay 10 grand for a class ran by a hex can actually break down what really matters in hex and crypto, it would have saved me. First of all, it would have saved me 8 years of my life. And second of all, it would have saved me millions of dollars in crypto, in mistakes, in chasing shiny objects. So yeah, so this is a paid course. We're hoping to get it out there. We're hoping to pump all our bags, and we're really, when we can figure out the education and onboarding piece of crypto, the only thing holding us back, and I'm going to talk about this later too, the only thing holding us back are fiat on-ramps and apps that are easy for people to use. So right now, these apps, the wallets, the exchanges, most of them are not easy to use at all. For crypto people, they're not easy to use, and they're definitely not easy to use for for people that are new, you know, people, no coiners. So that being said, once we get these few pieces put together, and when the price of crypto goes through the roof again, we're just going to get bigger and bigger waves of people. So, anyways, I will cut the stream, grab something to eat, and then I'll kick it back on when I'm back. So, we'll catch you on the flip side here. Conversations with Kent says, excellent. Earl's my cousin. Thanks for the stream. Oh, man. Thanks for being here. Everyone has been here, everyone that's still here. Conversations with Kent is now a big bad moderator. Enjoy that rent. Use it with responsibility. Yeah, there's no place I'd rather be right now than onboarding. Love it. Love it. Hex love. Hex love. Love you guys. Okay. We'll catch you on the next one.